Bonjour, nous sommes ravis de votre patience. Bienvenue dans cette nouvelle version améliorée de l'émission. Welcome to the flat. Footy from the flat is starting. Footy from the flat is starting. Footy from the flat is starting. The footy is starting.
Welcome to the flat, guys. Bear with us for a second because Jesse is just tagging me in something, and then I'm going to accept the tag, and then we're going to kick straight into the show here. Jesse hasn't come through yet. What are you doing?
I'm sorry. I'm so disorganized. I had so much time to set up, but we usually put something on Instagram letting people know we're live, and you've really exposed me trying to do this here. But how are you doing?
I'm good. I was going to kick in with something about this round of football being an epic one. We had, particularly I think from Saturday, but we had, probably the early games of the round. I think Sunday kind of blew it out a little bit. If you go back to the Thursday game, 15-point margin, that was an excellent game, Freo and the Hawks.
Yep.
Friday was an 11-point game, Brisbane and Carlton. Port Adelaide and the Dogs was only a 2-point game. North pushed Sydney to the limit. And then the Giants-Essendon game. So if you kind of stopped the round at that point, it was probably one of the rounds of the season.
What about Melbourne West Coast, that scintillating finish?
What was the margin in that in the end?
32 is pretty good for us. Yeah. That's a thriller.
Yeah. I mean, the Geelong and Collingwood one kind of blew out, but at the same, there was there was something kind of captivating about that game as well. So I thought overall it was a good round of footy.
Yeah, it was a good round of footy, to be honest. Sunday were a couple of stinker games. Yeah. But I suppose with Richmond and Adelaide, at least Richmond were up at half-time and made that a bit of a contest. But on paper, that was a stinker Sunday. It's
funny. I reckon... Sorry, I'm just accepting that now.
Thank you.
Getting that done. I reckon Richmond and Adelaide and Essendon, the GWS, probably had stink fest written all over them.
Very true.
More than any other game. And they were probably two of the more compelling games.
Essendon playing some pretty promising footy now against teams that they shouldn't, well, I wouldn't say have a chance against, but GWS highly fancied in that game. I think there's a little bit of trauma between those two sides. GWS regularly touch them up. I reckon Hogan kicked 9 on them not too long ago. For them to, be in a winning position deep in the game, I think that shows their growth.
I actually think... And I probably should have saved this for the review part of it, but the moment for Essendon, like the thing that Essendon can hang their hats on the most out of anything from this game, the fact that they just pushed the Giants in general was great, but it was actually mostly coming from their younger players. Like you look at the performance of Roby, and the moment that Dyson Sharp left the field with that shoulder injury was pretty much the moment that the game swung. Remember last year we were talking all through that draft period, and we're going like, does he have the upside, Dyson Sharp? We talked about his leadership. This is what he can bring. Absolutely. If he's played in that preferred position.
Yeah, exactly. It took a little while for him to get centre bounces, and he started to get more. Unfortunately, got injured during the game, but overall, I think Essendon are tracking pretty nicely. But I suppose we'll get into them a little bit further. Got someone in the chat, Luke Reschke, saying, did you guys want to admit you're wrong about Freo yet? What did we say about Freo that's wrong?
I don't know.
I tipped him for the grand final.
Yeah, I tipped him for I had him top 5. I didn't have him top 4.
I don't think that's a terrible shout. I said Brisbane Freo grand final at the start of the year. I haven't been proven wrong.
Yeah. So did you tip Hawthorn to beat them?
No, tip Freo. Actually, the only game I've gotten wrong in the last 2 rounds was tipping the Eagles.
Why does everybody think we hate Freo?
It must be the youth point series.
Is that it?
Yeah, that was poorly received.
Yeah, okay.
But that doesn't have a lot of
I don't think I've said anything particularly bad about Freo. I know sometimes it's a thing with them is that it's difficult to... Sometimes it's difficult with Freo to identify what they are doing that creates their sort of superiority over the opposition.
I think a lot of it comes down to talent. rather than system. I've been saying that for a little while. And that was probably not true on Thursday night. I think that something did change defensively, but I think it's for a period of time, the immense talent of that footy club has won them games.
Yeah.
So if they can click into a system, I think they're absolutely a premiership chance.
They're playing better, more confident football this year than they were last year as well.
Yeah. Importantly, haven't dropped games where maybe previously they would have. They sit 8-1. They're in serious flag window territory.
Flag window territory. That's scary.
That's just a new term that I've come up with.
That is. Do you want to kick into Stank or Bank?
Let's do it.
I love a bit of Stank or Bank. This is a new segment, guys. So I give Jesse a take from across the internet, be it a rando on Twitter to some of the top journalists in the AFL, a take that they have come up with, and Jesse simply replies with Stank or Bank.
As I always do.
Bank is good, Stank is bad.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. First one's from Kane Collins. This is a paraphrased quote from one of the episodes or shows that he's on across the weekend. He said, "If Mateus Philippou's huge contract means the Saints lose Darcy Wilson, they valued the wrong guy."
Yes. Wait, what's the answer again? I think you have to put that in a bank.
Bank?
Yeah, I mean, Darcy Wilson's playing great footy. Kicked 4 goals, 22 possessions on the weekend. Clearly a higher rated player right now than Philippou. I do think the upside is there with Philippou. It is a bit odd that he's paid so much at this early stage. He's not quite there yet.
Yeah. I mean, you can definitely see that he's got the talent, and you do understand that talented players will get paid bigger contracts, but at the expense of Darcy Wilson, who is also an extremely talented player.
That's true. You'd hope it's not a choice of either. I hope the Saints can keep both.
It's always, to some degree, it's always one or the other, isn't it?
Not at St Kilda. Everyone's paid $2 million.
Yeah. I mean, and you could also make the argument that it's the TDK contract, it's the NAS contract.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not just the Philippou one, but I suppose he would be one that you'd think could have been on a slightly lower contract. Let's just
it's
say.
a bit of a quirk there, that one. But yeah, Darcy Wilson's in ripping form.
What do other people say about that? I'd be interested to know. Do you think Philippou or Darcy Wilson? I'd be taking Darcy Wilson.
Yeah, I do think Philippou still has the higher upside, though. I think in terms of what he could become, it's maybe a little bit higher.
Yeah, maybe. I do think that Darcy Wilson, though, because he's already such a good player in a specific position, he's kind of, in a way, more ready to go.
Yep.
North are keen on him, apparently, as well.
Oh, true.
Which is interesting. This one's about Jagger. This is from Nicholas Graham on Twitter.
Yep.
Jagger not attending one centre bounce is staggering to me. Draft a pure, skillful, agile midfielder we've been screaming out for and let him lose confidence on a half-forward flank.
I will say bank only because literally 0. Is that what he had? That's a bit much.
I reckon he must have in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
His numbers have been down in terms of the CBAs for over a period of time.
Yeah.
Look at this game specifically. There is a trend in the AFL of playing your inside mids in different roles. We saw Dyson Sharp, we just discussed, that was true of. I guess to some extent you can justify not putting a lightly bodied midfielder that Jagger is at every stoppage or every centre bounce, right? Ball up. To have no access is a bit much. I do think you do need to give Jagger some time developing in that role, but I would say he doesn't need to be there for the entire game.
No.
So on the way that's phrased, I'll say bank, albeit I don't think he needs to play 4 minutes as a primary midfielder.
No, I don't think so. I think if it was 50% though, that would probably be fine.
Yeah,
he's not a guy that, as much as being at the centre bounces for him, it's not going to necessarily mean that he is overly physical in there because it's not really the way that he plays anyway.
Agreed, and he's nimble enough to get away from people, but I suppose there's always the eventuality that he cops more knocks than he would if he's playing on a wing or wherever exactly he's starting.
Yeah.
Half forward.
What I put it down to is that they're just favouring other guys that don't have the flexibility to play different positions. And then he's the one that's new, he's coming in, he's young, so you can justify putting him on a half forward flank.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily think it's the right call though.
No, I think a balanced approach would be preferable. 0 centre bounces for a game, that surprises me.
Yeah. I always said about him too in that draft, I was like, he's one of those guys that is, he's just a midfielder.
Yes.
He's not a mid-forward.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We have the next one here. This one's on Essendon's list about 2028. So this one's projecting forward a little bit from Does Dons 10 hours ago. Right now, if you said you can have any list for 2028 and beyond, I'm picking Essendon. Add another top 4 pick, Buick. With the right coaching, this list build is going to be contending. Farrow, Roby, Sharp, Caddy, Roberts, Kondo, Kako, ADW, Archie Wicks, May, Johnson, Martin, Durham, Reid. I didn't really have to read them all out. But
No, it's good.
is this the best list from 2028? I'm not picking anyone else.
Okay, if you're applying it literally, no, you can't say that they have the best list.
So Stank.
I think so. I agree with the general point, which is that Essendon actually do have a lot of good young talent on that list, and it's going to get even better if they add an Archie Butler or something this year. I have no arguments against that. The spread of talent is looking really good at Essendon. Is it the number one? I mean, sure, you could maybe say they're comparable to a Richmond, who also don't have proven talent
Put
yet.
your money where your mouth is. Who would you take right now out of Richmond and Essendon?
I think Richmond probably has a little bit more high-end talent, and that makes me have a little bit of bias to there. I think you can get by with a good nucleus of elite talent and build around that. Essendon have a better spread, probably. But, I mean, that's before you even get to the Gold Coast Suns or the Brisbane Lions, who we're going to...
Scored a lot of youth points.
They do score a lot of youth points. Maybe it's comparable, I don't know. But even GWS has surprisingly, like when we did our analysis the other day, they have so many good young players. They have transitioned that list so well on the fly. Again, well, I was going to say they don't have a lot of maybe top echelon, but there's Cadman, there's Callaghan. So I don't know if Essendon is the number one, but I agree with the general point. I think they're punching above their weight really well right now in the AFL.
Where do you put West Coast in that conversation? Not to bring it all back to them.
It's hard to argue for West Coast right at this period of time. They're playing really poor footy. But if you were to look at the talent that's there, having Harley Reid, Willem Dersma, assuming they all stay, I think that top-end talent still trumps Essendon.
Does it trump Richmond?
Possibly.
I'm really trying to make you make big calls.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're going to make me look like an idiot. Well, if you can just compare who's in the top echelon, having Reid and Dersma probably nudges it ahead of that. But again, I would say the Richmond spread of talent is better.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying West Coast are in a better position than Richmond.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. But yeah, Essendon coming along really nicely. Like I think even Archie Wicks was maybe like one of the more impressive players, or has been in the last couple of weeks.
Yep.
And then Roberts is doing really well, and you got the three guys from last year at the top end.
We didn't even mention North actually.
Didn't even mention North.
Sort of removed them
because it feels like we're just so much better now.
I kind of just they've sort of moved out of the rebuilding period, so they don't come to mind as quickly. But yeah, your Wardlaws and your Foss in particular, those two. I think if those guys reach their potential, they're probably
I think we're probably somewhere in between an Essendon and Richmond, where we don't have maybe we don't have the number one picks necessarily. I mean, other than Lawler, I guess they don't either. They've kind of got that one guy, but we sort of went a lot of pick 3 and 4 and stuff like that.
Yeah, that Horn Francis guy's looking good.
That Horn Francis guy's looking good. Who would you actually? That's an interesting one. Just to throw that to you. Genuine question: Sheasel or Horn Francis?
Oh, Horn Francis. Yeah, over Sheasel. Yeah,
just checking.
Yeah. I'd say Wardlaw and Foss. I would take over Sheasel.
Would you take them over Horn Francis? Jeez,
if you guaranteed me Wardlaw had a normal career without his soft tissue injuries, I would probably take him number one.
Yeah, he's so good, isn't he?
Yeah,
so good. Absolutely love him. This one's actually about North Melbourne. The next one. This is from This says North not taking, which just probably tells you something about the comment as well. North not taking Watson will go down as the worst draft decision in AFL history. So you have to factor in here. They took 2 players ahead of Nick Watson.
Yeah. Well, the one that stands out there is Dersma, because my coach is a fair bit more advanced than Dersma at the moment. If you're applying it literally, it's not the worst ever. Richard Tambling over Buddy Franklin might be forever etched as number one,
isn't it?
Yeah. A couple of players went before Judd, but they were pretty good players in Luke Hodge and Luke Ball.
Yeah.
It might be a close second, given how good Nick Watson has become. But we'll see in time. Like, could Dersma turn it around and just bridge that gap? I don't think there's much chance he's a better player than Nick Watson, but
no chance.
He could bridge the gap. But yeah, it's looking pretty rough at the moment.
I think Louis got a super chat for us there, Jesse.
Hey, Lewis. Thank you, mate. Thanks for being here. Stank or Bank? Rewalt's comment on Carlton getting Harley Reid from West Coast to the Blues, with them trading Wiedering to North Melbourne, then trading loads of picks plus Cripps to West Coast. That is the biggest stank I've ever heard.
Carlton getting Harley Reid from West Coast to the Blues, with them trading Wiedering to North Melbourne, and then trading a load of picks plus Cripps. Okay.
I think West Coast get shafted in that deal.
But you get picks.
Yeah, an undisclosed or undisclosed nondescript amount of picks.
Yeah.
It's just lazily tacked on.
Picks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you guys are necessarily saying, I mean, North Melbourne are saying, absolutely. What do we have to give up for that? I suppose
That's
our first rounder.
Yeah. I reckon you could, first rounder and something, maybe two first, because we discussed it the other day. If it's this year, your future first is in Tasmania's draft, becomes a little bit less strong.
What if Carlton gave you, it's a top 3 pick, and they gave you like their opening pick this season,
For Harley Reid.
yeah, plus whatever else they have. Like they would also have, they got 2 first rounders this year.
Yeah, of Sydney's.
Yeah, so they gave you the 2 first rounders, and then another one in the future.
I would keep Reid unless he really wanted to get to Carlton in this hypothetical scenario.
Even still.
Yeah.
What about Cripps comes too?
Nah.
Okay.
Harley's too important to the future of West Coast for us to give him up willingly. There may be a time where we have to, but no, it would take more than that for me.
Okay. Stank Lewis. Stank.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's Rewell's comment, but not Lewis's. But yeah, I think that was horrible.
Oh, sure, yeah. Okay, the next one I have here. After once again witnessing Hawthorn get smashed in the midfield, the decision to not offer more for Zach Merritt could cost them a flag in 2026.
It could. I think we just talked about this in another video that we just recorded. It remains to be seen what Hawthorn do next, because I think I said in the last video that would getting Zach Merritt on a reasonable contract rule them out of a Zach Butters play, considering as well that might be a trade. They would have hamstrung themselves. Now, it does sort of hurt them in the short term for 2026. I still think they could win the flag anyway. The midfield is a bit of a concern there for sure, but I'm not so sure it needs to be a 31-year-old Zach Merritt.
Yeah, I think you're right about the Zach Butters piece of that, but at the same time, the question is for 2026 alone. So I suppose the question is just more strictly, does it rule them out of the flag in 2026? You say no.
I don't think it rules them out of the flag. I think it might depend who they get on grand final day.
Yeah.
You know, a big, powerful Brisbane Lions midfield makes it tough for them.
I do worry about them when I think about, because I always think about the finals as like a string of games. Like we think about individual big games, but it's essentially like you have to beat like 4 opponents, or depending on where you are, if you lose your qualifying final, et cetera, you have to play like a number of opponents. Is there not one that like Hawthorn are going to hit someone that just smashed them in the midfield? It feels like only 2 games this season they've won centre clearances.
That's crazy.
So they get dominated from that part of the ground, and like they did again. They started really well against Freo, and then they just lost.
They could have won that game.
They could have.
I think Fremantle made some adjustments, started defending better, but for 2.5 quarters or whatever it was, Hawthorn looked far the classier side on the night.
Yeah,
to be honest, but that's not taking anything away from Fremantle. They obviously did the work to change the tide.
So Stank
massively. I'll say Stank. I don't think it needs to live and die by a Zach Merritt trade.
Yeah,
I think there's so many other things Hawthorn can do.
And then the opening up at the Butters thing, you sort of like that more.
Yeah, you'd hate to be in the position at the end of the year where we can't go for Zach Butters because we've got Zach Merritt.
Albeit on that conversation, it sounds unlikely that Butters is going to go to Hawthorn.
They could miss out on both. But Hawthorn is such an attractive club to play for, they'll get someone.
Yeah, it feels like it's maybe a bad call there by Butters on some level.
To not go to Hawthorn. Yeah.
If that's what he's going to do.
Yeah. We'll see.
Okay, so if Port Adelaide, the next one, if Port Adelaide are to let Zach Butters go, they should make sure they only do a deal with a club that has picks.
Stank. Never works.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you can't dictate which club a player goes to. That's just the nature of the game. So, with all due respect, that just doesn't happen. So, can't give that a Stank. Obviously, if they're in a position to manipulate which club you could go to, well, the league would be in a better place. But that's not the world we live in, Dylan. It doesn't pay the bills.
So Stank.
I think that's a Stank.
Okay.
Yeah, we got to know by now that's not realistic.
Okay, I got a juicy one here. This one is about Judd McVie. This is from Matthew Stone, not the creator of South Park. Judd McVie is nowhere near as good as Judd McVie thought he was. Wasn't good enough for Melbourne's midfield and won't be good enough for any other midfield either.
That's a savage take.
It's a savage take.
I don't know enough about Judd McVie as a person to weigh in on his
Well, forget that
tickets.
part. I suppose, like, do you think he's good enough
No,
to
I don't
play
think
midfield?
so. I don't think so. I can't imagine him being a primary mover in a team. I don't think his offensive weapons are good enough.
There was a time where I thought he was,
Yeah.
from watching him play at Melbourne off the back flank, and then ever since I thought that, and any opportunity that he's had since then to be a better player, I don't think he's had the weapons.
No, but he can still be a really good role player.
How do you think his time at Freo has been so far?
I would be lying if I said he's the player I look out for when I watch.
He's
been a little anonymous, but not bad.
Yeah.
I didn't think he'd been bad, to be honest.
Slow start. We've seen that. I mean, we've
Yeah.
seen players cross clubs and have a difficult time to start, but I think he's been pretty quiet. Still on Freo flavour. This is from Mitch Cleary. He says Freo have to cash in and win a flag in the next year or two. Otherwise, it can move on pretty quickly.
Stank. It's generally true you got to hit when the conditions are right. But I think if you're going to pick any club who needs to win quickly, it's not going to be Fremantle. I would argue with the list profile that they have, this is the start of their window. So obviously things can happen. I don't feel like they're going to lose anyone. They have such a strong culture there. Players don't want to leave. They want to stay at Fremantle. They want to commit long term. Injuries, I suppose, could happen. But, that's pretty random stuff to try and weigh into a prediction. I think there's no reason to suspect this won't be a long and healthy window for Fremantle.
It's a pretty bland take when you think about it, isn't it? It sounds very like it's got some cutting edge to it. And then when you unwrap it, you're like, well, it's kind of like any team that is in the window to win a premiership kind of needs to win it now.
But if you just look at this season, even the top two teams, why didn't he say that about Sydney, whose average age is about 28?
Yeah.
The second oldest team in the comp.
Yeah, completely.
Again, nothing statement with all due respect. But that's why it's a stank for me. I don't think it's true.
Brutal.
He seems nice, Mitch Cleary. I just don't agree.
Okay, so this is a Collingwood one. This is turning the attention to Collingwood here. Standing by what I said post-Freo. So this is post-Collingwood playing Freo. This is a bad, mediocre at best team who will have zero benefit scraping into a wild card at 10th. Sugar hits against Carlton and Essendon, and a draw that should have been a belting did zero to change my mind. Harrison, West, Ryan next week.
I'm going to guess a Collingwood fan.
Collingwood fan. Yeah.
I'm going to guess surprised about where Collingwood are this season.
Feels like it.
Feel like the general consensus is they're exactly where they were predicted to be, which was in the middle of the ladder. They're a well-coached team. They have a great system. They have one of the best players in the competition. They have good players across the park. And they've dealt with personnel issues. Obviously, the defence in particular has missed like Darcy Moore and Jeremy Howe this year. Tagoe's missed. So a little bit hamstrung, but I do think it's razor thin when you start cutting into that team and testing their depth. They're going to be exposed. So as for the call, yeah, I mean, calling them a bad team is a bit harsh, but generally I think he's
mediocre at best is the sort of direct quote here.
It's a stronger word than I would use, but I suppose by definition, if you're in the middle of the ladder, you're mediocre. But
they kind of are smack bang.
They are.
They're 10th.
Mediocre has a more negative connotation than simply average or medium, sorry. But so I would agree generally with the point. I do think they need to make list moves to get out of this. I don't think that's a particularly hot take, though.
No. I mean, it's an angry fan.
Yeah,
I suppose the question there would be like, do you think they need to play younger players? Harrison, West, Ryan.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, I've supported a club that was in this position where you think, all right, let's give the kids a go, and then the kids are no good.
Yeah.
So I can only assume there's not a lot of belief in that next layer. I think in the position that they're in, they probably should tinker a little bit more. You might find a gem if you give them an opportunity. They're probably in that phase, but maybe they feel it's too early in the season to give in. I think they're a club that always believe they can win the flag.
Yeah, they are a club that always thinks they can win the flag. I guess this, like, not to tie it into this and make everything about this, but it kind of comes into that Scott Pendlebury conversation again, doesn't it? Where there's, like, they're kind of managing him through games, but if they're not, and they're kind of, like, there's almost an implication there that the Collingwood aren't going to do anything this season.
Yeah.
So if they're not going to do anything this season, why aren't they blooding more kids? Would be the question.
Yeah, it's a fair point. I mean, I don't know if they've conceded that they're not achieving anything this year. I think the Pendlebury management partially to manipulate a result where he gets a home MCG game against West Coast to celebrate the big game. But on top of that, I do think I think you manage a 38-year-old anyway. So I think the flow of it has been pretty normal, to be honest. I think maybe later in the season we'll see some movement if Collingwood are out of the top 10 race, but that may not happen. I'd imagine they're always going to be in the wildcard race this year. Hard to see them slipping out.
Who do you think is their... Rogie might come in and give us a bit on this, but who do you think is their most talented player? Like, obviously outside the sort of Nick Dacos, we did the Youth Point series on them. Like, of their young draftees, which none of them are really like top 10 echelon players, who would you say is their most talented? Maybe Prindable? West?
Yeah, I don't know too much about Prindable.
Yeah,
to be honest. He was an academy player, so I kind of ignore them a little bit. But that's a good question. I don't know who their most talented is. I'm trying to think. The guys we had in the +2 category were Ed Allen, Angus Anderson. Yeah, I wouldn't say.
I don't think they're their most talented. They're just a bit older and
fair. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's hard to say.
Maybe West.
Could be West.
It could be
Zach McCarthy.
Yeah, true. There is talent there.
Yeah,
decent upside there.
This one's from David Lithgow, and I like this take. Carlton are 1-8, have been an absolute rabble for nearly all of the last 25 years. Have another coach allegedly on death row. Yet, I think they are in a better list position than they have been in a long, long time.
Stank and a half.
Stank and a half.
Stank and a half.
I thought that was maybe a good take.
How are they in a better list position? Well, I mean, there's an nondescript amount of time there. What's a long, long time? Because maybe 10 years ago they had Walsh, Wiedering, Patrick Cripps. They had Curnow and Mackay. They had this spine. I don't understand how that even resembles that. So are we talking about over the last 4 years they're in a better position?
I suppose draft picks have come in for Curnow. They've moved those they've moved a Silvani on. They've moved a Curnow on. They moved somebody else on. DeConing, which isn't necessarily a good thing overall. But then on top of that, they've been able to get a lot of draft picks in the door.
Yeah.
They've got Hayward and Ainsworth in as good sort of elder statesmen, just helping them out a little bit. And then they've got the picks. They've got Jagger Smith. They've got the players, Harry Dean, and they've got Cody Walker coming through. That would be the argument. How highly you rate those guys and how highly you rate having the picks, I suppose, is the question.
Yep. I'm not critical of what Carlton's done over the last off-season or two. I'm not. I think it's a massive stretch to say it even comes close to being a better list position than, say, 2018, 2019, when, admittedly, we're looking at hindsight here, but that's fine. They had plenty to work with there. Are they in a better list position than they were 3 years ago? Maybe. Probably.
Yeah. I think you could actually mount an argument, from my perspective, I think you could mount an argument that they're in a better list position, not necessarily to compete though. That's the problem. But there's maybe more hope and optimism around what they could get out of this group.
Yeah, I still think if you stack Wiedering, Walsh, Cripps, again, young TDK, who's admittedly not there anymore, Curnow, Mackay, and whoever else at that time against Dean, Smith, Walker, who am I missing? I suppose Walsh is still there.
Walsh, yeah.
I feel like it has a bit of way to go to get to that point.
Oh, completely from a wins losses point of view.
I just meant from talent, stacking the talent against.
Just stacking, well, those guys were all highly touted, but I think what Carlton did last time, which was a fatal flaw, was they built it with players that weren't moving the needle in the modern game.
Yeah.
So they got stuck with those guys, and although those guys were talented on paper, the team didn't really work. Would be the argument there.
Yeah.
But we'll get on to my last Stank Bank, Jesse. This is about Nick Dacos. Nick Dacos, this is from a Supercoach Scout channel.
Okay.
So it's a bit Supercoach loaded, but it says, Nick Dacos has gone from laser beam to leaf blower by foot, a serious case of the yips, the worst his disposal has been so far in his AFL career. The game at the weekend, he had 29 disposals at 55%. I'm not a big run on disposal efficiency, but I would say just the eye test is telling me that he is not kicking the ball as well as he has in the past. Even I think Craig McRae defended him and said that he's got guys hanging off him. I don't think it's just that. I think he's actually been kicking poorly lately.
So on the take itself, it's not sensationalist. It's factual. It's backed by data. I'm going to say it's bank because it doesn't extrapolate. It doesn't say he's a spud. It just says he has a serious case of the yip. So it's a good take.
Laser beam to leaf blower.
I saw Kane Corn say, and I'm quoting a podcast, so I didn't do the research myself, but Dacos had 22 possessions in the back half, and I think those disposals were at 40% by foot.
Wow.
So probably a combination of the yips. Also, Collingwood as a team is not flowing as well as it used to.
Yeah.
So if you don't have players in space, your numbers are going to hit down. So hard to know exactly what the root cause is, but I think it's undeniably true.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jesse.
You're welcome. Thank you for the segment. You did all the work there. Sort of.
We have a beautiful super chat.
We do. It's bright and yellow. We have Reef Luke. Thank you so much, mate. Appreciate you. You are a legend. Who has exceeded expectations the most so far? D's for me. Loving the new content format, fellas. Thank you, Reef. Thank you so much. West Coast?
Well, okay. So who's in this?
The D's is the clear answer.
It is the clear answer because even I was. You and I talked about this a lot in the preseason, and you were in the stank category. I was in the bank, but then when you actually go and look at our ladder predictor, I still had them fourth bottom.
Yeah.
So
right.
I didn't really put my money where my mouth was.
No, you didn't, but you did talk them up as a top 10 chance, and I was very skeptical, I reckon.
Yeah.
So, yeah, obviously got that wrong, as I've admitted every week since then and had to admit. They're the clear answer there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to
I'm trying to think of anyone else too.
You know what? This is going to sound like a weird answer, but on some level, and not as much as the Demons, I'm not saying it, but on some level, Port Adelaide have been a positive surprise to me. Their wins and losses do not reflect that.
Okay. I thought you just meant like they're way higher on the ladder than you expected.
No.
The way they're playing over the last month or so?
Yeah.
They've only won one of those 4 games, but yes.
Lost to Hawthorn by 3, lost to the Dogs by 2, lost to somebody else.
West Coast by 2 earlier in the year.
Yeah. There was somebody else good though.
So Hawthorn? Did you say Hawthorn?
Yeah, Western Bulldogs. Adelaide. Adelaide, yeah. So they... I'm looking at them and they're 5th bottom. So it's not great.
I know what you mean, though. We particularly when they had a poor start to the year, losing to West Coast in particular and North by 8 goals, like the alarm bells are ringing. But they've stabilised really well. I think they're playing much better footy with a team that I don't think is the most blessed with talent.
Can I tell you something as well about them?
Aside from a few, sorry, I should say.
Their percentage, if you put them, they're the 7th best percentage in the comp.
Wow. Yeah, I guess all their losses were narrow. So they have a big win against Essendon and Richmond.
They would sit behind
Geelong.
They would sit behind the Gold Coast Suns.
They should have beaten Geelong by more.
Yeah.
That's crazy. They have the best percentage in the league. That is crazy.
No, not the best percentage in the league.
Sorry, what did you say? 7th?
I said...
What did you say? I've already forgotten what you said.
I said 7th.
Okay. That's still pretty good.
Yeah.
They're
15th.
Yeah.
So that's an enormous jump.
Yeah.
It takes them up. So, I reckon they're a success story. I mean, could we talk about North Melbourne in this category?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you could. I'm surprised that didn't come to mind. I think for me, it wasn't the notching of the wins against crap teams early. It's been what they've been able to do against good teams that I think has truly demonstrated how far they've come. I suppose beating Port by 8 goals is something new.
Yeah, I felt that was new.
Yeah, beating Essendon by 12, overrunning Carlton. They beat them last year.
Losing to West Coast. Yeah,
at that point you had reason to be sceptical.
Yeah.
But to push GWS all the way, to push the Swans all the way, and more or less push Geelong all the way up until the last quarter blowout. Brisbane, yeah, that has shown a consistent run of form now. I agree, they should be considered.
Do they beat Adelaide this week?
I think they're a red hot chance. I think that's a real tough tip though.
I was going to say, will you be tipping them?
I'm tempted. I reckon it's like 55-45.
The only thing that I worry about in this game, I reckon we'll smash them out of the middle.
Yeah, true.
We'll smash them. I'm worried. I always worry about teams that have the quality of a Phil Thorpe.
Yeah.
That type of player. I don't know if Walker's... I think he's injured actually, Walker. That might help us a little bit, but they have quality tools, right?
Yeah. Phil Thorpe's a bit down this year, but nonetheless. That will be a vulnerability. They also have quality smalls in the forward of centre. Isaac Rankin put up a lazy 30 on the weekend. So, look, that's a tough game, but it's a weaker opponent than Sydney, and you just push them.
We just got a super chat come through from Grittio. Thank you very much, mate. Crows win was good, but we shouldn't really be losing to Richmond.
Yeah, so we can tank.
So we can tank for Coda, sorry, and not for Herbert. More A grade mid, less A grade rucks. Okay.
I don't know if your club would be in a better position if they lost that game. To be honest.
No, I mean
unless you want Knicks out, which some people do.
That's trending.
Yeah,
at the moment. It's absolutely trending. Where do you think the Crows finish?
I think they'll play wildcard weekend.
Where are they now? They're 8th.
Yeah, so about there. that top 7 is going to be hard to breach. Oh,
Yeah.
did you edit that?
Yeah, that's correct. now.
Nice, that's sick.
That is correct. And I actually keep bringing the ladder up on my phone,
Yeah.
and I've got that there.
Cool.
And I have to remember that.
Well, Sydney, Fremantle, Hawthorn, Brisbane, Geelong, Gold Coast and Melbourne all clearly better.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're breaching that, but I'd be
Did
surprised.
you say Melbourne in that? Sorry.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say Melbourne are clearly better than.
Maybe that's a stretch, but I think they're better.
Yeah. I think Melbourne could have some difficult patches.
Yeah, you've been
Throughout the
saying that.
season.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be all smooth sailing for them, albeit they've been super impressive. I think that top group, though, for me, that top group of 6 is clearly above.
Yeah.
And the Dogs are obviously dangerous in there as well.
Yeah.
Freo versus Hawthorn?
Before we do that, I do want to shout out the sponsors of the show,
Yes,
bets.com.au, who provide game previews and predictions that are statistically and analytically driven, completely free, and also lets you know which Aussie bookmakers are providing the best odds on the selected markets. Now take us away with Fremantle v Hawthorn.
I've just got Rogie stepping in here with
Oh.
a super chat as well. Thank you very much, Rogie. He says, our most talented young player will be whoever we draft this year. To be serious, it's probably Charlie West, still kicking bags in the VFL.
Yeah, whoever they draft this year will be the answer. I think,
Yeah, I
with
think
all due respect. It's
yeah.
hard to tell with these tolls, though.
It is,
They can come
yeah.
from nowhere.
Yeah.
So it could be McCarthy, as you said. That was a decent shout, actually. Collingwood's first pick will currently be like pick 10, maybe 11 after bids, something like that.
Yeah.
But you were just saying this draft's looking pretty strong.
It's looking deep.
Yeah.
Has a depth to it.
Difficult to permeate.
Exactly. And elasticity. Why am I doing this?
Anyway.
Fremantle defeated Hawthorn. The score was 12-16-88 to 11-7-73. And it was a bit of a yo-yo.
I'm still laughing at elasticity. It just
Absolutely don't know why I said that. This game had... you and I were watching this game actually in a pub as it was taking place. And we kept trying to end it. I said this to you at the time. We kept saying, like, if Hawthorn kick this goal, it's over. If they do this, it's over.
It almost felt like that. They felt like they were one goal away. I don't know if that's actually true in hindsight, but it felt like one more with the flow of the game would have done it.
It just feels a little bit like at the moment that Fremantle, when these games, if they can turn it into a dogfight and they can keep the score relatively close, they're always a chance. And particularly at home, like everyone's been talking about this Wharfie time thing. I don't really know what the fuck that is.
I think the origin of it, if I'm not mistaken, there was this audio of Matt Pavlich at a 3/4 time huddle in a close game at Subiaco Oval, and he ends it with, put on your Superman capes, boys, it's Wharfie time. And it got relentlessly mocked. Like everyone thought it was the funniest thing ever.
I mean, Wharfie time sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, but they've made it their own.
Yeah.
And it seems to be a thing
And
now.
it's-
That's my analysis.
Yeah.
It's cool though. I mean, as much as Fremantle disgusts me, like, fuck, they're going well.
Oh, they're absolutely smashing it. I mean, this game for me, it was separated by stoppages, 41-29 in clearances. As I said, Hawthorn looking to, like, they're really struggling with that, I suppose.
Yeah.
Lack of midfield depth. 49-21 was the scores from stoppage, which kind of on the scoreboard actually separated things. What was interesting to me in this game, it was certainly like a forward half game for Freo, but they actually scored more points from their back half. So they didn't have any domination from their forward half game.
Okay.
But in a way, I feel like this is what is impressing me about this Dockers team. They just find different ways to get you. It doesn't really matter. If the game is not flowing for them how they want it to flow, in other years, I think they crumble and they lose the game. And this year, they seem to be able to find a way to fight, get involved, get scrappy, get dirty, and win it anyway.
I heard Longmuir talking post-game, and I think he said the general idea was to play a front half game, and even if you're getting ugly looks at it, with Fremantle, you can sort of let the talent take over. I don't think those were his exact words.
With Freo?
Yeah, well, he was talking about how you get opportunities and you let I'm paraphrasing.
Let the players play.
Let the players play to some extent. And I think when you have the talent profile that Fremantle have, and those forward half players, you can do that to some extent and just rely over time to win more than you lose by letting your talented players take over.
Who do you think is the biggest weapon for that philosophy?
Probably Shea Bolton.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too.
Yeah. I mean, Murphy Reid also in there. If you talk, I'm picturing the ball in a congested forward 50 and they can't buy a goal and they need to generate something out of nothing.
And the ball just goes and spits out.
Yeah, I reckon that'd be Murphy Reid or Shea Bolton.
Yeah.
Yeah, Luke Jackson, obviously another one. There's a lot of talent there.
I was just thinking about that.
Josh
moment.
Tracy.
Yeah, well, that's he feels a different type of player to that. I mean, he just gives you so much representation.
Yeah.
He plays with such an energy and physicality.
That's
I
true.
would absolutely love him.
A big moment player as well.
Big moment player, but yeah, like, as you said, like so the forward half scores were 21-22 in favour of Hawthorn, and the defensive half scores were 45-28 in favour of Freo. So although they played that forward half game, they had to adapt to what was actually happening, and they actually had to run the ball from defence, which isn't what I typically think about Fremantle.
Yeah, that's true. I got to say, watching it, like when you look back on the numbers and how much of the game switched, it didn't feel that way. Probably because I was a few pints deep at Camberwell. But I do remember thinking, like, for the first 3 quarters, Hawthorn just looked too classy. In particular, Nick Watson, Jack Gunston, imperious. And I think there was a bit of a mismatch. I think, Gunston's a difficult matchup for someone like a Brendan Cox, but they also had so much space that they could, just put the ball out somewhere and Gunston was going to slip past and take the mark. And then I think even across the game, I think Hawthorn still were up in contested ball. I'm not sure if that probably did even up towards the end of the game.
Yeah,
but
I think it did, yeah.
There was a lot that was going in Hawthorn's way. And as I said, you felt like a goal might just push it past Fremantle's reach. But it was 6 goals 7, 43 to 1 goal 6 from halfway through the third quarter. I didn't really realise how...
No, it didn't feel that much of a...
I suppose it was a flurry of goals.
Yeah.
But maybe they all sort of came right at the end in a rush. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But, yeah, fantastic win from Freo.
Yeah, 100%.
Is flag mantle real?
Is flag mantle real? I still think that there will be tests for them. I mean, it's... For any team that wants to have that, I suppose, like premiership credential, like they're going to have to get over Brisbane. But if I'm looking at that top 4, I think in a way Hawthorn have more holes than what a Fremantle do in their list.
Yeah.
They've shown that they can, like Sam Mitchell can problem solve and he can find solutions to problems. But I actually think Fremantle have a more balanced list.
Yep.
I don't think they have a more balanced list than Brisbane.
Sure.
But I worry about the way that the Sydney Swans play with that really high handball game that it's it's quick and it's catching teams off guard in the here and now. But do they have other modes that they can slip into?
Well, we've seen what they're like on grand final day.
Yeah, exactly.
So
different. They're playing a completely different style to what they were back then.
Well, that's true. Yeah,
it's going to be really interesting. I can see that getting found out pretty fast, and then them having to adapt on the run and perhaps not being able to do it. So I would currently, as it stands, my 2 premiership favourites would be Brisbane and Freo.
Yeah, that was my predicted grand final.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Start of the year, Brisbane, Fremantle. I did tip Brisbane to win, but flag mantle might be real.
Incredible.
Yeah, that's the first time I've admitted that.
I just want to ask one question about Hawthorn in this game.
Yeah.
Their last few games, you've gone 1 point win over Geelong, 3 points over Port Adelaide, a draw with Collingwood, and now a loss to Freo. Case for concern?
That's a good question. Beating Geelong on Easter Monday is a great win result. There's a great result regardless.
Yep. 3 points over Port Adelaide.
Yeah. Port at the moment playing pretty well. Bit of a bogey side for them as well.
It is a bogey side for them. Draw with Collingwood. Less forgivable. Yeah,
less forgivable, but at least they were up in all the numbers. So at least they can just say, had we just been a little bit cleaner, we win that game.
And then lost to Freo in Perth.
I don't think that's a red flag.
Not a disaster, is it?
They'll review very strongly what happened to go from such a good winning position to losing. And I believe Sam Mitchell, there's something was said about how he'd sort of locked the players in a room and I don't know, reviewed it very strongly. We'll go with that. So obviously took that to heart, as you would.
The next game we have is the Friday night game. Brisbane defeated Carlton, and we have a super chat which I've missed.
Lewis, thank you again so much, mate. Appreciate you. Jackson was the game changer in that last quarter. Show him the money now, Freo, or he walks after 2027 when he's a free agent. Is he out of contract in 2027? He must be, yeah. He's young.
Yeah.
I can't imagine Luke Jackson's ever leaving that footy club. He wanted to go back to home, and I think Freo was the only option. I'd be amazed if he can get tempted by a Tasmania deal, especially if Fremantle haven't won a flag by then. I think there's not.
What if it's
an
enormous bag of money, which it probably will be?
It could be
with Tasmania.
It could be. You do think Fremantle's been signing a lot of big contracts. You can imagine they might be getting a little bit tight, but I'd be shocked if Luke Jackson would left that club. I'd even more shocked than Oscar Allen leaving West Coast, which I never thought would happen. But
yeah, it's true.
I don't know.
Is he the best ruckman in the competition?
I don't think he's the best ruck right now. It's hard to say if you look
because he's so different, right?
Yeah. I mean, off the recency bias, everyone's saying that. Is he actually better than Max Gawn, Brodie Grundy, or even a Tristan Jerry? He's in that mix. It's hard to separate him, but I don't want to flip-flop. Max Gawn is still number one for me. He's just playing reduced minutes or something, reduced time at centre.
Max Gawn.
Yeah, the last few minutes.
Max Heath's been taking most of the centre stuff, and he's just been resting forward. I think he's a bit sore, a bit banged up.
Yeah, understandable.
I kind of just think with these rucks, though, it gets to the point where they're, in a way, like none of them are better than the other. They just play in different... The teams that have them set up around their strengths a lot. So, like, you know, Tristan Xerri's this big physical presence and he goes after the opposition. So, North kind of play around that. Gawn's a bit more of a, I suppose, traditional ruckman in a way, and they can use his marking around the ground. And then Jackson, you can use the hustle and bustle. Like, pretty much use him like a mid.
Yeah, I agree. I think you nailed it. They're all so diverse. And we have so many elite rucks in the game. Probably rule changes maybe having a bit of an impact, but they're all good players already, so not sure.
Yeah, completely agree. So we go to the Friday night. There's a double header on here. Brisbane defeated Carlton by 11 points, and I don't think we'll stay on this game for too long, but I found this one fascinating. I feel like there's a big push here to say that this was a great performance from Carlton, and I haven't been exactly sure where I sit on the whole thing. Do you feel like this was them turning the corner and it was a great performance against the reigning premier, or do you think it was kind of just, I don't know, Brisbane took their foot off the gas and Carlton were able to get back in the game?
Bit of both. I think they deserve some credit for sure. Like Patrick Cripps was insatiable in this particular clash, and I think I'm looking at the stats here. Brisbane led 24-11 in clearances, 10-2 at centre ball up at halftime, and then there was a complete switch. I think the Blues started battering them in contested ball. Were massively up in clearances and inside 50s. So, I mean, that doesn't really answer your question, but there's a big stark contrast there.
Was it Carlton? Could you see them carrying that, I suppose, into the future? I mean, they get nothing for this game. They don't get any points. But do you think it was actually a moment of them going, okay, we're finding something here?
A little bit. I definitely think there was some sort of drop-off. But then again, how many times will you discount Carlton because they did the same thing against Fremantle? So do we keep negating them or not giving them credit when it keeps happening? I don't know. You got to give them some credit, I think. Yeah. That being said, I don't think they played the full firepower of the Brisbane Lions per se. That being said, I put it to you.
Yes.
Is this the ideal outcome for the Carlton Footy Club? Not Michael Voss, but the Carlton Footy Club, the scenario where they're playing really well against good teams and still losing. I don't think 1-8 suggests exactly where they are. I think they're better than that.
They are better than that.
But shit, every week that goes by, Cody Walker gets a little bit cheaper.
They get games into some of their younger players.
Yep.
And ultimately, like, it's not just the Cody Walker thing, but they'll be able to just be more flexible in the draft.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any chance that they finish in like the bottom two places?
No, I don't think there's any chance of that.
Okay.
Nah, West Coast are in a league of their own. Richmond injuries. I don't think. I think they'll probably finish like 4th or 5th last at this rate. Carlton.
Who do they beat though? At the end of the day, like.
They'll beat West Coast. They'll beat Richmond if they play them again. Essendon a little bit harder to lock that one in. But, you know.
I don't think they beat us, for example.
No, I don't think so either. But what about the Bulldogs? That's this week. I don't reckon the Bulldogs are completely safe there.
Not completely.
No.
They're a vulnerable side.
I think I did still tip the Bulldogs. But
probably would.
But, you know, if Carlton continue their form, I suppose they weren't great against St Kilda. But they also led that game at halftime.
They've led basically every game at halftime.
Were they in front in this game at halftime?
That's a good question.
No,
they weren't. They were way down.
Okay.
That's true. Remember, they
reversed.
Comeback. They reversed it. Yeah, 8-2.
Yeah.
And then in the second half, they kicked 11 goals to 6.
That's true.
It was a big turnaround.
There you go. Transition profile, like it was against Fremantle, was actually better for Carlton than it was for Brisbane.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is their ability to get from the defensive half to their forward 50 and score. So for a team that has lacked in that area. There's some signs of improvement there.
It sort of feels like they're like in the background. They're going, okay, we need to become a modern football team. We need to be able to move the ball from the back half, find different ways to score. We can't just beat teams up around the ball. So they're focusing everything on that. And then what ends up happening is you focus on that. It starts to come, but other areas of your game start slipping away. That's kind of what it feels like at the moment, and that's why they're all over the place.
Their clearance game has gotten weaker. I suppose in this second half of this game it was massive, but I think they lost that to Fremantle. Mind you, they're also a great clearance side. So, yeah, that's true. You make a good point. By the way, the Brisbane Lions, Lachie Neale, 146 game day squad points. Doesn't show too many signs of slowing down.
No.
And they have the Cats next week. Grand final replay on Thursday night.
Huge game.
Yeah.
Huge game. I think Lachie Neale has been one of the surprise packets of the season.
Yeah.
The fact that he's just been able to pick up from like both all of that stuff going on and the fact that it just felt like he was a bit of a declining force. I think we naturally expected like a Will Ashcroft just to step up and be their new guy. And I don't think that's necessarily happened.
At times it has, but not like every week.
Yeah. I don't think Will Ashcroft's having an amazing season.
I feel like there's been some good really good performances, but I don't think he's put it together week to week. But he's also deceptively young, Dylan.
He's
same age as guys like George Wardlaw and Cam McKenzie.
He has youth points.
He does.
Levi Ashcroft, on the other hand, had a lot of media stories about him this week. He had that ducking free kick, which pissed a lot of people off. So he ducks in, clearly drops the shoulders, goes looking for contact with the head, and then there's this kind of... Did you see this?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And then there was a discourse between he and Ben Ainsworth.
That's
what
right.
did you think of that?
Unfortunately, ducking is something we just can't get out of our game. So we just have to accept it. The umpires probably do need to be better at... For the last 15 years, I've heard that the umpires are going to crack down on the ducking free kicks. I don't think anything's changed, to be honest. I think there was a brief period in time where in like 2012 they stopped paying it and then they reverted back to it. That's my take. Like, it's annoying, but yeah.
Just thought
Did you have a different opinion?
No, not really. I just wanted to see what you thought about that.
Yeah, fair.
What are the chat saying? Christ T1989 says Neil is one of the best footy brains in the game. And Beanie Yoni says, looking good today, Jesse.
Oh,
you actually are.
Oh, really? That surprised me. I haven't shaved, so yeah, maybe I'll do that more often. Next, I'll skip deodorant. What was I going to say? There was something... Oh, yeah. Did you see that there was a... I don't know how true this was, but I saw a vague link to Collingwood for Neil.
I did see that. Yes.
That'd be such a Collingwood top-up move.
That'd be such a Collingwood.
It'd be a very Geelong top-up move too.
I feel like it's a good move.
Yeah, so do I.
What? Like, it'd be... Yeah. That would work so well. That'd basically be like an upgraded Tom Mitchell.
Yeah.
I feel. And it would massively help their clearance profile. It'd give Nick Dacos a chop out. I'd be doing everything I could if I was Collingwood. Yeah. And he would actually be keen.
Yeah.
Because I reckon he would think that perhaps there was a premiership. I mean, obviously, his off-field stuff, there's like, potentially ties to WA, not necessarily to Melbourne.
Yeah. I'm not sure how strong those links are, to be honest.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, I mean, I think they're strong links, but I don't think it's necessarily a lock he goes back to WA.
Yeah, got you.
I say with no intel. But I don't know. I think he might end up somewhere else.
You do have journalist capabilities.
I do.
I will move on. We have the Friday night game, the second Friday night game. Western Bulldogs defeated Port Adelaide by 2 points, 74-72. The expected score in this one was much larger, 91-67. So statistically, the Dogs did get the power, but it was a close game. It was that Harvey Gallagher kind of buzzer beater for the point. This was really where they went inside 50. I felt like Port Adelaide could have just about got the draw here. They could have rushed that ball over the line. Harvey Gallagher, or I think it was another Western Bulldogs player, kept it in the last minute, and Harvey Gallagher kind of flicked it around over his shoulder, and they got out of jail.
That was a great play. I think Artie Jones, I feel like he dropped a mark, and then the follow-up play to keep the ball alive and get it to Gallagher was really impressive. It was a great play to win the game. Not an amazing spectacle. No. In terms of skill in this game, I think you're looking at the intersection of a club, Port Adelaide, who is improving versus a steeply declining Western Bulldogs. And, the skill level on show was
Do you
average.
think, though, with the Western Bulldogs that it's funny I say this, having Tim English back in the team now for the last 2 weeks, he was probably a bit more ready in this game, it starts to immediately improve their profile, albeit he has, I think, just been concussed again.
Yeah,
So he's out again. So they're going to have that same problem there.
Got to be the history there, I reckon.
He definitely does. I think it was his first concussion since 2022.
Oh, okay.
So it's been a while, but I think he'd had double digits before that. So he's got a history for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like that for the Dogs, they snap a losing streak. That was their first win in 4. So
big game against Carlton next week.
Big game against
It could be. It would, if they lost that, it would be the game that really rules them out this year of doing anything. You know, I think we've all got modest expectations of the Bulldogs right now, but I think if they lose that, it's going to be hard to come back.
So Pitnet's got an opportunity there to absolutely dominate whoever. They played in this game Logan Smith.
Yep.
The ruckman. They had been playing Louis Emmett, and I just think he's just not physically developed enough.
He's like 18
years old.
Crazy,
He's a ruckman. So I don't know what they're going to do there. They're going to get beaten in the ruck, which is going to hurt them from a midfield perspective, but you would still imagine that they'd be too good for Carlton.
Yeah, totally. That being said, you never know with Carlton. You never know. Or maybe, most weeks this year, you have known what was going to happen. They kicked 1-9 in the second half too, the Dogs, which sort of added to the stankiness of this game, to be honest. As you said, they could have won by more. Michael Selwood, bit of a highlight for the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what they've done with that defence overall, the Dogs, has been pretty important. I mean, they've brought in Jakes, they've brought in Selwood, both kind of medium defenders, and they've just modernised their halfbacks a little bit. I think, I talked about Baker and Bramble, who have both played a bit this season and done pretty well, but like just to have some different guys back there, I think has helped them a lot.
Yeah, for sure. We did have a super chat. I'll get to that in a moment. Samantha Jane. I hope everyone is having a good Arvo. Thank you, Samantha Jane, member of the channel. Going into trade and draft at the end of the year, which, if any experienced ruck, will be gettable, and who should the Eagles target short term? We'll keep this one concise, but Riley O'Brien, you'd think, would be gettable.
Riley O'Brien would be gettable.
What about a Ned Moyle? You'd probably throw your hat in the ring again.
The problem with Ned Moyle, I reckon clubs have just waited a little bit too long.
Yeah.
And now I think he could be favoured. He could start to be favoured over a Witts.
Yeah, but isn't... I can't remember who played this week, but is he getting games?
No.
Yeah.
But...
Okay.
Surely.
Yeah.
Surely he will be soon. I feel like it's one of those situations where you got a coach in Damien Hardwick and he's got Witts there and he just knows he can trust him.
Yeah.
So regardless of whether... It's almost just he knows that Moyle is probably more talented and more suited to the new rules, but he can't pull the trigger yet.
Yeah.
I think Moyle knows that though.
Yeah.
And that's why he's hung around.
Yeah, possibly.
But you're right, Riley O'Brien.
Kieran Briggs.
No,
I don't know how many of these are real upgrades on what the Eagles have. I'd say upgrades, but not massive ones. Kieran Briggs in particular.
Do you reckon there's a chance you could pull like a Taylor Goad out of North Melbourne?
Yeah, that'd be a great shout. Great thing to try and do. I think whether it's us, I'm not sure, but you'd look at Tristan Sherry in that North Melbourne setup and think, shit, he's going to be around for a while. He's pretty young.
Yeah.
Like for a ruck. So Taylor Goad might be gettable. I don't know what his contract status is. He would be a very worthy target.
He actually did recently resign.
Taylor Goad. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. The other one would be Nick Madden at the Giants.
Oh, yeah.
Who's just starting to become that number one ruck for the Giants. But maybe there's a chance that you could get him as well.
Was he at their academy?
That's a good question. I actually don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, okay. Make it a little bit harder. But then again, wasn't Peatling, Matt Kennedy, Will Setterfield, they're all academy players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Players will still leave, for sure. Griddio's also left us a super chat here. Thank you very much, mate. A little plug, but Indy Cotton from the Crows, Sandful T looks like if Ollie Dempsey had a basketball background. Also, Tony Marone is going number one next year. Set that in stone. Tony Marone is
I'm going to the bathroom.
An Adelaide Crows NGA. So I'm not sure about that, Griddio, but I like your energy. We've got a few questions coming in here. You read the one from Samantha Jane. Christ T189 says, "Oh, bloody heck, good on you for draft, fellas. Hope the memories were grouse." Not sure what that one is. Rumour is that English might be on the trade table to help with Butters. Really? That's interesting. I mean, I couldn't imagine if the Western Bulldogs could ill afford to lose any player, I'd have thought it'd be Tim English. The only reason that I think you would even flirt with the idea if you're the Western Bulldogs is the fact that English has been pretty injury prone. So, like, you'd be worried about his body, worried about his concussions, those sorts of things. But to be honest, I don't like, if I'm Western Bulldogs, as good as Butters is, I'm not giving up Tim English for Butters. Like, he's just too important. So I'd be surprised if that is true. Bonk Choi said that would be such a bad trade. I assume you're talking about the Butters English one. So yeah, I'd agree with that. Mortal Wombat, great handle. Great handle. If the Tigers weren't decimated by injuries, do you still think this year would have started the same way for them? Additionally, how much of an effect would the injuries have on our young players? It's a great question. I still think the Tigers, under any circumstances, if they had a full complement of players, they would still be quite bad this season. Like, they would be one of the worst teams in the competition. I tipped them pre-season to finish on the bottom of the ladder anyway. So from a wins-loss perspective, I absolutely think so. I think the main thing that the Tigers are losing out on tangibly is just experience into those younger players. Like, they're not getting to play a Josh Smiley. They're not getting to play Sam Lawler. They're not getting to play Taj Houghton and Harry Armstrong. So that's really ultimately what they lose. The points, I don't think, matter that much. But we have seen, as long as certain players, certain experienced players are in their team, particularly Tom Lynch, I think that just really, really helps them out and keeps them competitive in games. And their back line is pretty good. Since probably maybe round 5 or 6, I feel like the Tigers have actually turned a corner and they've been pretty competitive.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, getting the win last week and then a really strong first half against Adelaide. We have gifted 5 new memberships, guys, to 5 people in the chat. It's completely random. Beanie Weenie, Mortal Wombat, Russell Back, Frederick, and LXG just received free memberships. Thank you so much.
The handle on that previous comment was Mortal Wombat.
Yeah, that's
great.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's exceptional. We will move on to my Kangaroos.
I know.
Sydney versus North Melbourne. This was a sort of Saturday morning game, I like to call it. Sydney defeated North Melbourne 105-97, an 8-point win for the Swans. I feel like watching this game back, the Kangaroos, it was a good performance against a really strong team. I know they had a couple of players out, particularly Charlie Curnow, which helped us a lot to be able to contain them from an offensive point of view. To be honest, like I felt flatter after this game than I expected, given that we stayed within 8 points of the Swans.
Well, probably because there was a real chance you'd win.
There was actually a real chance of us winning, and that kind of made me upset. There was a couple of controversial umpiring decisions. Now, I don't like to go there, and particularly when it's my team. It makes me look even worse. But I actually want to show you one.
Okay.
I'm going to show you a clip here. Yep. So we're going to put this on. This is an Isaac Heaney, George Wardlaw one. People were furious about this one. I just want to see if you think that this is holding the ball, if we can get the clip to play. I hope that we can. Not looking good.
It's okay. Here we go.
Here we go. Is this holding the ball, Jesse?
Wardlaw does well. George, how good is that? Down, just didn't get out of the contest.
He didn't go low.
Wouldn't give in, Wardlaw.
Borderline, but it's definitely not play on.
Now, I think that's holding the ball. Tackle
the ball,
dropped
ball
it.
touches the ground.
George Wardlaw.
No ball.
Has every right to feel stiff there.
What do people think in the comments about that? I think that was disgraceful.
What stage of the game was that?
That was early.
Okay.
Yeah, that was early.
Yeah, no, that was definitely.
That's ball for you. The ball touching the ground is the moment, right?
Some
people saying that the tackle didn't stick. I think that was clearly holding the ball.
Yeah, had he kept the ball in his hand and stood back up, I could pay that play on. I need to see it again, but from what I saw, that's holding the ball every day of the week.
They kicked a goal out of that.
So you only lose by 2 points. Good. I'm only kidding. That's really annoying.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
people are saying holding the ball every day of the week. Holding the ball, no doubt. Sydney fan, that should have been holding the ball. Nah, didn't stick the tackle, see?
Yeah, but the ball hit the ground.
The ball hit the ground, though, so you don't have to...
Yeah, you can't place the ball on the ground. Not that he did that, he dropped it, so...
Yeah. Control call, yeah. Interesting. Okay, so, again, one of the things that stood out to me in this game, Curnow misses the match, which obviously is going to make Sydney a much blunter force up forward. But Logan McDonald kicks 3. Do you think this is the ultimate kick in the face, given that we didn't draft him back in 2020?
If it was a bigger bag, 3's modest. It's good.
That was the top scorer.
But imagine he kicked 5 or 6. That would be a real turkey slap.
I just feel like it doesn't matter. Like, you can put any forward up against us, like any key forward, and they'll kick goals.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, with the state of your key position defenders. No, I think the Nick Watson one was worse.
Okay. Really?
Dersma over Watson versus Phillips over McDonald. Yeah, I think there's a bigger gap with Watson.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
Sherry versus Grundy. I thought Sherry had an incredible game here. They, in fairness, they're different kinds of ruckman, and Grundy, he beats Tristan Sherry in certain, like, his tap work is better than Tristan Sherry, but just from a pure accumulation and physicality that Tristan Sherry brought to this game, I thought he probably got the better of Grundy in this match, kicked a couple of goals as well. What do you think in this battle?
I don't recall the ruck battle.
No, I just mean as players.
Oh, as players? Yeah, I mean, you'd still probably... Well, so many ways to tackle this question. I mean, of course, the course of the year, Grundy's probably higher in the All-Australian ranking, but Sherry missed games.
Tristan Sherry is actually the number 1 rated ruckman in the competition.
Yeah, that's fascinating. He's a fair bit younger too than Brody Grundy.
26.
Kingdom Laza says turkey slap quietly unnoticed there. I think Dylan's just got used to me.
What I actually missed that.
I don't want to repeat it. I'm glad that sometimes I make tons of jokes, inappropriate or appropriate, and like never get comments on it. So I just keep doing it.
Just keep going. Yeah.
Sorry, where were we? Tristan Sherry. Yeah, no, he's an outstanding player. I think this year there are 4 really good rucks that are going to be hard to separate in terms of All-Australian candidacy. But Gawn and Grundy probably still 1 and 2.
Who's the...
Jackson and Sherry.
Jackson Sherry.
Yeah.
Yep. Gotcha. Yeah. No, that's fair. I feel like Tristan Sherry, he's starting to compete with those guys, though.
But as you said, they're all so different.
Yeah.
It's hard to compare the impact a Sherry has versus a Gawn and a Grundy. Because they hurt you in different ways, don't they?
Which 2 get the All-Australian?
If it's decided today, I still think it's Gawn and Grundy for the body of work so far this year.
I've got a
feeling Sherry has missed games to this point, but then, if he plays every game, he's probably still back in it.
I feel like what they're going to do, though, is they're going to go Gawn and Jackson.
Yeah, okay.
Because they'll,
hard to go past Grundy, though.
Yeah. Or they'll go Grundy and Jackson, for example.
Yeah, well, what I would say, though, is if Melbourne keep running with this Heath and Gawn combo, that will hurt Gawn's chances.
That'll hurt Gawn.
Yeah. But I don't know if it's a body thing, but if he's gets back to being fully ready to go, it'll be hard to drop Heath.
It will, particularly if they're winning.
Yeah.
But then they also might look at it that they feel that's a bit of their secret weapon. Like, they can add another running player when Gawn is feeling good.
Yeah.
So that's... and I do feel like having a ruckman like Gawn, it means it does give you the flexibility to not run 2 genuine ruckmen, where if you've got like a Hawthorn where you like Reeves and Meek, you sort of have to run both.
Yeah.
Gawn can kind of do it all, which gives him a bit more flexibility. I've actually just noticed, Jesse, you've got here that North won the expected score by 11 points in this game.
Yeah, well, they had 48 extra marks. They had 16 extra inside 50s. They were really able to restrict Sydney's looks, but Sydney just too damn good that when whatever looks they got, the way they transitioned the footy and entered inside 50 quickly, they were able to score at a pretty good rate. That was the difference between the two sides ultimately. But North had so much supply. I don't know what the total clearance count was. I don't suppose you have that.
I don't have that in front of me.
Yeah, me neither. But yeah, North did so much right except convert as well as Sydney did. That was the difference between the two sides.
In the game. I heard a conversation with David King and Kane Collins. They were talking about kind of the ineffectiveness of someone like a Nick Larkey. This is like something I've been kind of banging on for a little while.
Credit to Will Edwards though, kept him goalless. That's pretty good for.
Well, that's a great because Larkey. The one thing that you got to give him credit for, he always finds a way to hit the scoreboard. But I just don't feel like we don't get that like representation from him necessarily all the time. Like he'll be skirting out the back, looking for one that gets over the top. Like he does a bit of Gunston type play when you kind of want Larkey to be that physical presence. Yeah. Which is a frustration at times.
Yeah, maybe it's something you need to trade for.
Potentially. I mean, we've got Trembath,
That's true. Well, you can displace Darling pretty easily, I would have thought.
Yeah. 100%. I still think the player that we need to go after is like a Jacob Wiedering key position defender. Like that would be absolute priority.
Yeah.
If we can get a competitive key position forward, that would be great as well. Maybe Matt Whitlock is the answer here as well.
Yeah, true.
So we've got some options now, which is starting to look really good. I want to ask you this question. If you could take one of the young talent from North Melbourne to your club, who would you take?
If it's specifically to my team, I'm tempted by Wardlaw.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
He was good in this
He was
game.
unbelievable. Those defensive efforts, I think, are really underrated. When we're talking about some of the best midfielders in the comp, the guys who can do it both ways, Wardlaw would be right up there. It's just, if I'm actually recruiting, I'd be like, oh, how's the body? That'd be the only caveat to that.
If he puts together 3 to 4 full complement seasons, like he'll be Matt Rao.
Yeah.
He could be better than Matt Rao.
Yeah. He's insatiable. People saying Foss, widescreen TV saying Foss, and it's easy. I mean,
I think Foss is the most talented.
Yeah, I agree with that. But the mentality of a Wardlaw
dog,
it's tempting. I don't know, specifically for my club, I think we're gagging for that a bit more.
Yeah. Do you like the fact that Wardlaw as well, like he looks like, I don't know what to even call him, but like he's got this kind of mop haircut.
Yeah.
Like doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Black boots.
Yeah. No, I love him. I loved him in his draft year too, because I thought we might take him. I think we traded the pick. So LDU, career best season. 34 and 6 clearances.
You can't tackle him.
He's a slippery
Moray
customer.
eel.
Moray eel.
He, like, to be fair on him, like the way that he can shift his body out of traffic for the size of him, like he's a 190 centimetre midfielder and he's a very, very big body. His lateral movement is incredible for someone that size. He's so powerful. And he's cleaner this season than he's been in other years. I've always thought that like there are moments where North could be coming back into the game and LDU will he'll double touch the football.
Yeah.
He'll have a bounce and it'll go back over his head. And I feel like he's been, he does that.
Yeah. Fair enough. He has felt like an almost player for some time.
Yeah.
So it's good to see him realise his potential to some
I think you
extent.
could genuinely say that he is one of the better players in the competition now. I'm not saying he's top 10 or anything like that, but he's he's pushing.
All Australian calculations. Maybe in the squad.
He'd have to be.
Yeah.
He's above, like, for example, he's above someone like a Finn Callahan this season.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But overall, well, you said you were flat with the result, but you got to be satisfied that once again North Melbourne pushed Sydney close. Another quality team, I mean.
We do, I think, though, like, what's this? We had a look at it a couple of weeks ago, this run of games where we had Brisbane, Geelong, Sydney, and then Adelaide's next.
Yeah, and there's somebody else in there.
There is somebody else good. We need a scalp.
GWS.
Yeah.
I mean, debatable that they're good, but they still played well.
Yeah. I think we need to beat Adelaide for this to be a success, this run.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know.
You still need to take a scalp.
Agreed. I do think, though, that you're still probably not at the point where wins and losses are everything.
No, they're not everything.
But yeah, I get what you mean. You'd be pretty flat if you got close again and lost.
Yeah. I think if you come up against these better teams this year and you just keep losing them all, even though it's close, you come into next year and you still don't have that belief piece.
Yeah.
You'll be being the plucky underdog team again next year.
Yeah.
Whereas I reckon you can fast track that if you start knocking off a couple.
That's a good point. I like that.
And I feel like we can do it. All right, we'll move on to the Saturday afternoon game. I actually thought this was a great game between the GWS Giants and the Essendon Bombers. Now, Essendon had the Giants on toast here. The Giants kicked 5 of the last 6 goals of the third quarter and ultimately kicked 10 of the last 13 of the game. Essendon should have won this game. Yay or no?
Yes, they probably should have. Well, I think when you open up a 26-point lead, you make the case for that. They're also an incredibly young side, so you always kind of accept that a drop-off is coming. So I wouldn't beat them up for that too heavily. This is also a team against whom they carry some trauma. Hogan kicked 9 on them a few years ago. They beat them by 21 goals. I feel like there was also a clash at like Marvel last year that got really ugly, if I'm remembering that correctly. Well, maybe it wasn't that bad. Anyway,
I think there were some stats going around about how they've been smacked up by the Giants.
They far exceeded my expectations in this game. And you consider how many of their top performers are young. I think Essendon would be really happy with their form.
So this is the thing here. I said it at the top. I reckon the moment that Dyson Sharp did his shoulder, that was a turning point.
Yeah, it's great to see him get more opportunity at the coalface. He had 10 of his 17 possessions were contested, and he had 5 clearances in. When did he go down? Like the third quarter?
Third quarter.
Yeah.
It was right before the avalanche of goals from the Giants came, essentially. There were stoppages in this game that had Dyson Sharp and Sullivan Roby, and they were just standing up in tackles, firing out handballs to runners. This was the game for Essendon, where I feel like those two took over from the likes of Parrish and Cordwell and whoever else.
Yeah, that's a good point. Somebody says they got smashed when they were nearly finals bound. That's true. Yeah, that 21-goal loss was like Essendon having a good year and then fading late in the season. Dyson Sharp versus Jagger Smith. Do you reckon if Dyson Sharp... I suppose it's true of both of them. Both been shielded from the midfield a bit.
Yeah.
But do you reckon Sharp might have done better in a rising star vote? Not necessarily who's going to be the
so
best
far
player
in the season?
Yeah, well, not so much... Like if Sharp, let's say, had been playing in the midfield more and Jagger had been playing in the midfield off 1.5 games of form, Dyson Sharp, how do you think he'd be comparing to a Jagger Smith?
If they were both in the midfield.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Just
drawing a few hypotheticals.
Yeah, I'm just trying to clarify exactly what I'm looking at here.
Well, I'm thinking in my head, would he be the second rising star chance behind Dersma had he been playing in his rightful position the whole year? Considering he is more ready-made than a Jagger.
Yeah.
He's more physically developed.
I just think you get, like, with Dyson Sharp, you get so much more of the emotional side of the game with him. Like, that's what I mean. Like, if Jagger Smith went off in a game for Carlton, I don't think we'd be talking about, that's when the game turned.
Yeah.
But for some reason, like, he turns into, like, he's in his first season, he's 18 years old, and he turns into your captain. And it felt like everybody was following his actions in this game.
Wow.
Which probably does say something about Essendon's culture as well, but it also says a lot about Dyson Sharp, because I've seen him do that at every level. I don't think you get that from Jagger. Do I think Jagger's a more talented player overall? Yes.
Yeah, fair.
But this I've seen this guy just keep finding a way to get himself better and better and better, and every level that he steps up to, he gets doubted, and he keeps going.
Yeah, that's true. Sullivan Roby also producing one of his better games, as you mentioned, 20 possessions and the 4 clearances. Archie Roberts also put up an enormous 189 game day squad points.
Was it 40?
42?
He's just having some disgusting numbers.
Yeah,
it's absolutely ridiculous.
I think he had 42 against Collingwood as well.
He's had multiple 40-plus disposal games. Like, I would want to temper the...
Oh, it doesn't necessarily reflect impact.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he averages 33. That doesn't make him Dacos.
No.
But nonetheless, I think he's playing his role pretty well.
He is sort of connecting the midfield with the defence, hitting up kicks. He's got very good balance, very good poise. So I'd give him that. But
Don's had 61 to 46 inside 50s, had more scoring shots. They actually outscored the Giants in scores from turnover, which is, I think, is a really promising stat. It just so happens that the Giants, as they so often do, kick more than half their goals from the back half. Such a strong ball movement team.
Yeah, absolutely. Whitfield, Lockie Ash, they're kind of built around those guys.
Yeah.
Which gets them going. The player that I wanted to single out for the Giants here, and his kind of return to form, and I think it's why I think that the Giants are going to, back half of the year, I think they're going to be one of the more improved teams, is Brent Daniels. So he's gone here. He's currently, off the games that he's played, he's the 14th ranked player in the comp already, coming back in. He had 10.4 rating points in the third quarter of this game to get the Giants back into it.
That's insane.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So
most BOGs around that 30 mark. Even less sometimes.
Yeah.
So you times 10 by 4 is 40.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I think, like, when you look at their small forward line with, the emergence of a Phoenix Gothard, they've got Hannaford coming through. Once they get Darcy Jones back,
yeah,
it's going to have so many good players in their front half.
Yeah. And so much quality youth, as I keep saying, but we're still going to see
how many
the
youth
best.
points?
38.
38 youth points.
Yeah. They've built their list so well, to be honest.
I want to ask you about a phrase Brad Scott said on the Giants with I don't know if you call it the banner.
Yes.
They did the strengths, and just for context, they did the strengths and weaknesses, and they put no strengths, and then in the weaknesses they put, what was it, the final days since the last final, right?
Yeah.
7,000.
Yeah. It's been 22 years.
since their last finals win. And Brad Scott, after the game, said the Giants are desperate for relevance.
Yeah, way to make it seem like he was unfazed by coming across extremely salty.
Yeah. I for some reason, and like usually I would see this as pretty salty. For some reason, I felt like this was for Essendon in that moment. It was a good response
From Scott?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Just standing up for themselves a little bit.
Yeah, okay.
He didn't come across overly salty to me. I just thought he kind of delivered it.
I thought I saw a slight tear.
Oh, there was a tear. I mean, obviously, if he had just said like, I don't care, but I don't know. It was standing up for himself.
Fair.
Maybe a little bit.
To me, it came across as salty, but
okay.
let us know in the chat what you think.
Yeah.
We do also have a super chat. If our producer could just scroll up slightly on the screen we have there. Thank you very much. Bong Choi, thank you so much for your support, my friend. North need a KPD. Ben Mackay might be gettable. Currently playing twos.
Who's Ben Mackay? Yeah.
We call him pick 3 now. Well, we call him Zane Dersma.
Wait. Oh, that's who we got.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was
Imagine a straight swap. That'd be ironic.
That sucks. Like, imagine if we had got Watson.
That's true.
And we could have said Ben Mackay is now Nick Watson.
Curtin was also there. Yeah. I feel like I'm cherry picking like things North have done poorly, sitting over here supporting West Coast.
Jagger Smith.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah. Nah, give me Foss. Not that he was available, but still.
Yeah. Ben Mackay though, do you think it was a good idea to drop him?
Probably. Yeah, I think he's probably more drop for like standards and leadership or lack thereof, more so than strictly performance. Just seemed like from the damning footage you see just someone a bit disengaged.
Yeah.
That was my takeaway. I think prior to that he was defended. I'm not sure who it was. I think it was either James Hird or Brad Scott. I think it might have been James Hird who defended how the way Essendon set up the field doesn't help Ben Mackay at all. That was, I think, the phrasing of it. So he was defended on the one hand, but I reckon the dropping would have been more about attitude.
It's really hard with those kind of players. Every team's got them, and there's guys that just look a bit laconic on the football field, and some of them they genuinely are laconic, and others aren't. Like they play, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They look it, but they actually play differently.
Yeah.
But you do feel like there is something slightly missing there with Ben Mackay.
Yeah, I saw a number of clips. I think David King went in on him a couple of weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, on Fireball. Just showed a lot of Essendon defensive efforts, and Ben Mackay was involved in a lot of them.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Burps.
Yeah, interesting. We'll move on to the Saturday night game. Gold Coast defeated St Kilda by 29 points here. Now, this one was kind of, I suppose, for St Kilda stained by the fact that Nasiah Wanganeen-Millera was a late out. They also then lost Cal Wilkie mid-game, which is, I would say that's their 2 best players.
Yeah, I would agree with that 1 and 2, probably.
I don't think you could really argue that. They got away to a good start here, St Kilda. 5-1 in the first quarter, but Gold Coast hit back in the second with 6-0. And St Kilda couldn't really wrestle back momentum, and Gold Coast had control from then on in.
Yeah. I mean, the number stat profile is really interesting. First of all, they kicked 5 of the first 6, but they won the clearance count 39-21, St Kilda.
Wow.
That's a battering. And from scores from stoppage, only won that stat by 9 points. So I guess from a Gold Coast point of view, you'd review that and be like, how are we getting so badly beaten in clearance? And it, like, regardless of what the numbers say around clearance, they still got beaten with scores from stoppage. When you think with the personnel that the Suns have, that's worrying.
And removing Nasiah.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
From that as well. St Kilda's best player. Gold Coast just has not been right for them this season.
No, well, I remember some time ago we looked at it and they were 18th for clearance but top 4 for scores from stoppage. Yeah. But they didn't even get that in this game.
Yeah, okay. So they were cutting through.
Yeah.
But even like, how does a midfield that has Noah Anderson, Matt Rowell and Tuka Miller in it, throwing in Christian Petrarca and Bailey Humphrey, not just win clearance every time?
Yeah. Yeah, or at least not give up the deficit of basically double. And
particularly, like, one thing that I think about with the Gold Coast Suns, this was played in the Northern Territory.
Yep.
They always win up there, and they've continued to do that. But they tend to handle the ball a lot better than the opposition up there, and that's kind of like their starting point for these games. So for them to not get their hands on the ball first is a surprise.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It felt like St Kilda were beaten by intercept defenders in this game. I thought the Suns did defend really well. Sam Collins starred. Bodie Hewland was the highest rated player on the ground with 13 intercepts. They just couldn't break him down. And that's with Darcy Wilson kicking 4 and having 22.
Yeah.
It's a big day. John Noble also had 159 game day squad points. So
Nobes.
Yep.
The Noblet.
Yes. As we've just started calling him.
I'm quite intrigued with the Gold Coast Suns defensive makeup. Like a couple of years ago, I thought Charlie Ballard was one of the best key defenders or emerging key defenders in the competition.
You got to be clubs are going to be looking at that situation and going really hard with Ballard. I think he's contracted till 29.
Yeah,
but out of the team, absolutely worth going for.
If North miss out on Wiedering,
oh yeah, Ballard.
Get Ballard. You guys would be in for that too, surely.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you'd be a better chance of getting him than us, but yeah, we should go for it. Totally.
100%. Oscar Adams is the one that kind of has his position at the moment. I mean, he looks pretty good as well, but this will continue to happen with the Gold Coast Suns, with players just not getting opportunity because of how much talent they have.
Totally. Yeah. But an important 4 points nonetheless. St Kilda probably, I did see during the week, bit of hype around the Saints. If we win one of these top four is on. I
did see that too.
Yeah.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And bless them, they're just passionate fans coming off a good couple of wins, but I'm not sure if that was ever really on the cards for this game, even if they'd won it.
Yeah.
In that top 4.
I think they slightly get an out there because of Naz and Cal Wilkie.
That's true.
They'll
That's
give
fair.
themselves an out.
That's valid. Wilkie hasn't missed a game since debut.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Will he miss this week?
I'm not sure. I think it was a knee in the back, so it's one of those ones where you just see how they pull up. So I don't think it's not like he's done his hammy. We have some news from Bonk Choi who says Jamie Cripps has avoided an ACL.
Oh,
that's good news. MCL damage. That still makes it tough for him to get back. I would have thought. I don't know off the top of my head, but I reckon that's 8 weeks. It can vary.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's clearly a lot better. That probably rules out the career over.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, he's retiring at the end of the year anyway.
Yeah.
All it does is probably just mean we have one less mid-season draft spot. But no, I'm pleased. Honestly, I'm pleased.
You've found a pessimistic angle.
No, I am pleased.
Oh,
I love Jamie Cripps.
There's a few people talking about that Jagger Dyson thing. So New Heaven says Dyson has more dog than Jagger, in my opinion. Mr. Spindles, I like this call. Jagger is a player any club would like. Sharp is a player that every club needs.
Good shout.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's definitely still that argument though of how a player like Sharp, how high can you take that player in a draft?
Yeah.
Clearly the point for Essendon was pick 13.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good value pick, to be honest, still.
Yep. And Footy Lux says, am I the only one who can see a lot of Scott Pendlebury in Jacob Farrow?
Yeah, I mean, Pendlebury, as far as Pendlebury types goes, he's the best.
Yeah.
So in terms of the IQ, I mean, there's been players who've come and gone who can move like him and be a little bit quicker of mind than others, but it's a whole other thing to be Scott Pendlebury. But I agree with the point.
No, there's definitely similarities.
Yeah.
Shape-shifting, kind of moving in and out of traffic, slowing the game down.
Yeah, totally.
All of those cliches. Basketball background.
Yeah.
No doubt. Saints and Gold Coast Suns, I think Saints just end up ultimately probably outside the top 10, don't they?
No, I don't think that. I think they're a good chance to make it, to be honest. Oh, I'm looking at the teams above them.
Who do they displace?
The Bulldogs are the most vulnerable there, and Collingwood are. Yeah. I think it could be one of them. I'm not going to lock that in. I do now think the North are more in this conversation than they were a couple of weeks ago.
He's coming around.
I am.
He's coming around.
He's broad wine.
I feel like Suns are like Suns. What'd you say?
Nothing.
The Suns are definitely. I don't know. I don't feel like they're in that top 4 group anymore, but still.
No.
I digress. We move on. Geelong defeated Collingwood by 54 points. 54 points, 122 to 68. The one thing I loved about this game on Saturday night was how Geelong, it was a pretty cagey game, pretty equal up until halftime. The Cats came out after halftime and they adjusted and they started to get that handball game going. And once they did, some of their chains, their cleanliness, sharp handballs to get the ball out of the back half was incredible. And it turned the game. And it's if people want a game of why Chris Scott gets a lot of praise as a coach, just watch that game. Because look what they did in the first half with a lot more long kicking, and trying to control the ball. And then they got the handball game going, which completely disrupted Collingwood's defence.
Absolutely. The Collingwood's ability to defend, particularly through the midfield and on transition, was kind of exposed in this game. The defence looked disorganised, which is very rare for Collingwood. On top of that, their mid-forward connection was off. Their goal scoring was off. They kicked 0 goals, 6 in that third term, and then ultimately killed off the game at that point. 5 goals, 14 they had kicked at three-quarter time. So they were getting looks.
It's funny because you go back to the game against Hawthorn the week before, and they had a similar profile, but they in this game, against Hawthorn, they kick straight.
Yeah.
In this game, they went the opposite.
That's a good point. What did they kick last week? Like 15-3?
15-3 or something.
Yeah, it's absurd.
It was the opposite, essentially.
They overcorrected. But the Pies did have +7 inside 50s and converted at 39% per inside 50. It's just the quality of those inside 50s and the quality in the front half of the ground is not.
You almost feel like a
great.
Collingwood game, like they're better off to not have the inside 50s.
Yeah, as in, yeah. I mean, we talked about that weird stat against Fremantle. Remember that? I brought that up where like the team that had got slapped in inside 50s would win because they would rebound and counter-attack and score.
And then their entries end up being better because they can they can be expansive and use the entire field.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah, because it was a much worse result this time despite being +7 inside 50s.
I've got one for you here. With Collingwood's overall forward woes, if they weren't able to attract like a Ben King level player, could they go after someone like a Hayden McLean, who played his first game of the season against the Kangaroos, kicked 3 goals in that game, and clearly still has something to offer and isn't favoured in the Sydney Swans? I assume he'll be out of the team again once Curnow is back.
Yeah.
Would he be a player you'd go after?
Yeah, absolutely. You'd put him a bit below the list. I reckon you'd favour Jed Walter or Ben King first, but and Mitch Lewis is also in that conversation.
McLean or Lewis?
Right now, probably Lewis, but again, McLean's been in the VFL, so he hasn't had the opportunity to demonstrate it this year. But probably Mitch Lewis. They'd be a similar age. McLean, is he a free agent this year? I think he's around that mark. I'm not sure. Yeah, but to answer your question, yes, Joel Amati would be another one, to consider. North Melbourne could look for a McLean to replace Darling. Oh, so he's good enough for Collingwood.
yeah. He's that level.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's funny how I do that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do Collingwood, Jesse, do they need to play more young players? I'm talking about Charlie West. I'm talking about Ed Allen, Sam Swadling, Di Mattia, Jath, Saxon, Aprindable. Does someone have to come in?
Yeah, I do think that. I do think there is some benefit to playing players in the VFL. I mean, we use the GWS, I think we talked about earlier, where you can let players cook in the VFL and develop and then bring them into an AFL system when they're ready. So I don't think there's necessarily this need for Collingwood to rush youth in. Sam Swadling's 18. He's just come from the Waffle Colts competition. I can't remember if he played league, but either way.
He did it.
I thought he did actually, now that I think about it, yes. Either way, I don't think there's necessarily a need to rush these kids in, but you would like to see a little bit of experimentation if this year continues to stagnate for them. But overall, actually, I want to talk about Geelong. Sorry, did you have more to say on that?
No.
Because I feel like we haven't talked about Geelong, who just pants the Pies.
Absolutely, go for it.
Well, they kicked 11 goals to 4 in the second half, as you said, and their ball movements really tightened up in the second half. How good was O'Shane Mullen? Second highest rated player on the ground.
You love Mullen.
I've been mulling this one over, you could say. Second highest rated player on the ground as a tagger.
Was he really?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And we talked about, we've done a lot of content today. I can't remember where we said it, but we talked about how he...
I've had that moment today where I'm like, did I say that on the stream?
Yeah.
Or the previous video?
Yeah, we talked about how he mitigated Dacos, and Dacos had 22 disposals in the back half. And I think
55%?
Yes, but 44 by foot.
In the back half.
Yeah, specifically. Yeah. So, yeah, we talked about him having the yips, but O'Shane Mullen, I think one of the fastest improvers over the last couple of years for the Geelong Footy Club. And, it's more about what he's doing with the ball as well. Like, we know he's a good tagger, but he's starting to really impress and a lot of upside.
Looking at Geelong in this game, like I said I was really impressed with the coaching performance and how they changed modes, but they did just look way too athletic for Collingwood in this game. We talk about coming through the draft, and there's always that constant conversation about do you go for athletic players versus like high IQ footballers? You can go for the high IQ footballers and they can play footy, but they can, if the balance is wrong in your team, you can get found out like this. And the Cats just looked like they were running on top of the ground, using the expanses of the field and getting right on top of Collingwood. And they just couldn't go with them. Those old guys, they're running, they're trying to chase Ollie Dempsey, and he's just too quick.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They got a lot of firepower. I mean, Bailey Smith had 150 game day score points as well.
40 touches. I mean, he's a classic example of that power runner.
Yeah.
I don't think even, probably only someone like a Nick Dacos could go with a Bailey Smith.
Yeah.
In that midfield.
That's true. Cats, are they the real deal this year?
Pre-season, I was a big yes. I got nervous, and I'm coming back around.
The annual event with Geelong, we all do that every year.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I feel like they always have those, they always make you question them during the season because they're older, and they start getting a couple of injuries. Like I thought Myers was going to be out.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
For example, now he's coming back through the VFL. I think he apparently still does have some knee damage. I think he's important to what they do, but I don't know. Again, if you look at balance of team, like is there any position on the field that they particularly want for?
No. They would love Tyson Stengel back in terms of that player. I mean, Myers is a small forward by definition. But Mana's good, but I still think maybe that. But
that goal sneak.
Yeah.
Exactly. Scoreboard a bit more.
Exactly. That's probably it. But other than that, incredibly balanced, yeah.
If Dangerfield can play and be ready for the end of the season, I think that's the moment. I think they'll, clearly what I've seen so far, they'll finish top 6.
Yeah, I think you can trust them to hit their straps later in the season and finals. Whether that, wins them the flag, I'm not sure. 5-day break to the Gabba, though.
Gross.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think the Lions will have a 6-day break and not travel.
Do you think that's a game for the Cats, given that they lost the grand final last year to the Lions? Like that could be that game becomes a real moment in time for them, because if they win that game, it'll give them the 4 points, which puts them closer to that top 4, but it'll also give them a lot of belief. If they go to Brisbane after what happened in the grand final and they lose that, it'll feel like they just can't get them. So I feel like that's a big game in the context of their overall season. Yeah,
true. And I think in the home and away season last year, the Cats got a massive lead on the Lions at the Gabba and lost.
Yeah, they did too. Yeah. They did too. And then obviously they had the big qualifying final.
That's true. Geelong got the better of them there. This would be tough for them to back up, but it'd be a huge win if they got it.
Absolutely. We move on.
Thomas Payet says Mitch Lewis is so far ahead of McLean. That's probably fair right now. Now that I think about it again, yes.
No, I was kind of considering that from who would you prefer to recruit, in the sense that McLean would be a bit younger, wouldn't he?
That's where my mind went, which is why I asked if he was a free agent.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I do. I acknowledge though that McLean's probably actually getting older than I thought he was.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Double check that.
I reckon he's a free agent.
Yeah, okay.
So.
I feel like he'd be getting up there.
Teresa Jade says, hey, I need to know why you said Harvey Harrison had falling out of favour in recent times. How does he stay in favour when he's not played football? I think, yes. Sorry, Teresa. I think he'd done an ACL. We must have missed that. So that was a bit sloppy from us. Cats could very much beat the Lions. Would not be surprised if the Lions are a bit too arrogant. I'm not sure about arrogant. I mean, I think they're a confident side. I don't know if that will cost them this week. I think the 6-day break and 6-day break and no travel versus the Cats here could be the deciding factor. And I think the Lions will take this clash very seriously. New Heaven says, Jesse, what makes you feel like CDT will be a forward and not a ruck? Good question. I think that the way he plays, I don't know if he's going to have the height or the physicality to be that ruck, and certainly not the leap. So he's 201 centimetres, and I reckon at that height you do need to be a decent leap to mitigate that difference. I think, honestly, my current feeling is CDT could be better suited to key position defence. I would like to see him developed in that role in the short term. I think I can see him being agile enough to stay with opposition forwards and be good enough at ground level when the ball hits the deck. So, what do you think of that? CDT developed as a defender.
Ooh, CDT a defender.
I think his movement allows him to do a good job. The height's there, ground level play's there.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's not a proven forward.
No, he's not a proven forward.
And I'm not
I
sure.
mean, I was probably more thinking in my head, like, why not the ruck?
Well, that was the question that was posed to me. I worry about his height and leap ratio.
Height to leap ratio.
Both are too low.
Yeah, okay.
I feel like you need to be a good vertical leap, particularly in the modern rules, to be that centre ball up
guy, yeah.
And I don't know if he's ever going to be a wrestler around the ground. So
no, he's not a wrestler. I mean, his weapon, like, in that sense, like, do you just play him as a mid then? You could.
I don't know if he's a good enough mid. I don't know. Maybe over time. But I think in the short term, he can develop as a defender.
Yeah.
Yeah, then see where he sits.
This was all, like, I guess this is always the issue with a player like that. When you get them in, like, what do I do with you? Because you're not going to be majorly affecting games straight away.
Yeah.
There's almost no chance of that. And then you kind of like, okay, we'll play him as a defender. And it's like, that wasn't really our plan. And then if he starts playing well as a defender, you're like, cool. But then what do you like? Do you change his position from that? Do you keep him there if it's going well? It's like...
Yeah. I think developing physically is probably the priority and giving him an experience. And I think West Coast needs some help down there as well. So I don't mind it. I don't think he's a natural forward, but he could also improve in that space as well. He does seem to have pretty good IQ.
Yeah. Doesn't have a lot of experience playing as a defender, though, I wouldn't imagine. But
no.
Let him kind of, I don't know, launch at the footy.
Yeah.
Play with a Jinby. Probably help him out a little bit.
Yep.
We move on to that West Coast game against Melbourne. They lost it by 32 points, 99-67. It was, I want to say I was texting you in the first quarter of this game and you weren't overly optimistic. In fact, I actually went in, Jesse and I have a shared document, right? And we kind of go in to check like what the other person's written about the games. I was watching this game and I went to check and I opened this document and it wasn't our document. It was Jesse's
Personal
review for True Eagle. And he's like writing up, what was it? Unwatchable?
Yeah, that was the word. I think I used that in my review too.
Yeah. So it was quite funny, but nonetheless, I think overall you probably got to be happy with a 32-point loss here, given how the game was going, because I found it quite the same in the first quarter. I thought this could have been a cricket score.
Yes. Sometimes when the tone is set in a really negative way early in the game, it can be hard to reflect on quarters 2, 3, and 4 as too positive. I think in the cold light of day, you got to be somewhat pleased that West Coast didn't get blown out of the water, because I thought there was a recipe here for a huge loss. For all the diabolicalness of the first quarter, it wasn't through lack of effort. It was through unbelievable skill errors. I think Tom McCarthy almost snapped his Achilles with the ball.
What was it? I listened to your review and there's something that really grabbed me. It was Jack Hutchinson. Jack Hutchinson looked like he'd never handled a footy before.
Yeah, he does have that in his game. That's true. Tom McCarthy, hit the ball with his heel, trying to do a regulation drop punt that resulted in a score for Melbourne.
What's happened to McCarthy?
You know what? He actually played pretty well outside of that.
He had a decent game.
He had a bit of a poor effort in a contest later, so I wasn't too flattering of him. But like in terms of the way he played outside of that, he was okay. But it was a pretty poor skill error, and Melbourne just burned us on turnover in that first quarter. But after that, I reckon we might have even lost the rest of the game by about 5 points. So I think all in all, West Coast can't be too flat with that. And equally, Melbourne look at that game thinking, what happened? I think they got strangled a little bit by West Coast to their credit, but they would have also smelt a huge win coming up.
See, I went into this game thinking that you guys could have potentially stunned them.
Really?
Yes. Yes, really.
That's adorable, Dylan.
No, genuinely though. Like I think they're a team. Obviously, they're doing really well this season, but I don't think they come into games against bottom teams and just think they're going to dispatch of them. We saw what happened with them against Essendon earlier in the season. I don't think when they come up against the North, they're just going to we're going to feel like we're in that game.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's
for
true.
example. So I thought West Coast. So I was disappointed with your first quarter, but I think I agree largely with everything else. You were able to get back in the game, and from where West Coast have been, like that's a game that could have just blown out.
Yeah, against the backdrop of the last 5 weeks, it's a step forward. Yeah, it's a step forward. But you want this to sort of be the baseline. this performance. I don't expect him to be hitting laser passes all the time.
What were you kind of went over there, the negatives of the game. What were the positives, if any, about, like, obviously that's more of a development thing for you guys, but Duff Tyler did play pretty well in this game from I saw. He had a couple of nice moments.
He didn't put them on the scoreboard. His goal kicking was poor, but he did have some nice moments. Positives, I think the 4-quarter effort, like the intensity didn't drop. That's a start. I think clearances, we were up all day but lost them narrowly at the end. Contested ball was plus 13 Melbourne in the first quarter, and then we were plus 8 over the rest of the game. So those were probably the positives. But there weren't a lot of highlights in terms of this game. I'm trying to think if we kicked any sick goals. We actually only lost the expected score by 13.
Not bad.
But I do think Melbourne killed the game off halfway through the second, so it's hard to.
It's always hard, and I reckon those games are always tricky when there's essentially at quarter time the game was somewhat over.
Yeah, it was 54-10 at one point. So,
yeah. So it's hard to kind of judge. They've basically got the game on cruise control at that point. I did the player that I expected to dominate this game was Cozzy Pickett. I thought you handled him really well.
Brady Hough returned to form. I gave him our best on ground for blanketing him. He did a really good job. Also affected a spoil in the front half to result in a rare West Coast goal at the time. 11 goals to 5 from turnover was the difference. I did write that stat down. So that was about the margin in the end, scores from turnover. Jake Bowie also returned to the AFL side, had a really good performance.
Liz Frank?
Yep.
Was the injury?
Yep, that's right. And Van Rooyen kicked 5 in one of his better games as well. Again, didn't have a quality opponent, which reminds me of probably the biggest negative of this game was Harry Edwards.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So third concussion in a row. I reckon he got concussed maybe in the preseason derby. He comes back for round 1 or 2. I think it might have been round 1. And then in round 2 against North gets concussed in the opening quarter. And then immediately comes back into the side wearing a helmet and gets an elbow to the head. And I don't know if anyone watched it, but there's blood pouring down. He's walking off. He's looking disoriented. It was sickening vision. And his career is genuinely in doubt now. It's hard to think of a more... there are unluckier players, with all due respect, but he has had a really rough run, and that could be the end of his career. He got concussed on debut, and that might unfortunately be the cruel, ironic finish to his career.
Yeah. Cozzy
Pickett is also free to play. Let's have a look at this again. Thank you to our producer who's just brought up some footage for us.
That's the hit on Waterman there. So essentially, he doesn't get him strongly, does he? But it's more of it's probably the action. He could have really hurt him.
I actually did see that the MRI, it actually says it in front of us, Pickett did not elect to bump, and he basically did everything you could ask of a player in that situation. I'm not too salty about him getting off for that, although I don't know how consistently they apply that. I feel like other players might have been suspended for that, but that's not for me to say.
I wish I could see how much he body lines the ball in a straight direction. You can't really see how much he pulls up. I mean, I think with Cozzy Pickett, it's a little bit comes into this, the fact that he does have a bit of form for electing to bump.
True.
Which makes it a little bit worse. But I mean, if he had have elected to bump in that situation, he would have really hurt. It could have killed him.
Yeah, true. That's true. You don't want to get hit by a Pickett.
You don't want to get hit
Generations of Pickets have hurt people before on the field. Byron was a bit of a brute.
Absolutely. He'd run literally over the ball to get someone.
That's it.
We do have a super chat there from Lewis as well. If West Coast had first choice in this year's draft, who do you think they should grab? Harry Van Haddam, a mid who's not club tied, or a key position defender? Also, mid-season draft, who are we getting, Jesse?
All right. Thank you, Lewis, by the way. So my thoughts are Noel Williams is my current favourite for us. I think in terms of his attributes and what he brings to a midfield that has offensive power, but could use that two-way player.
Yep.
And he's pretty classy.
Yeah, a bit of a Andy Brayshaw.
Yeah,
as a comparison. I actually watched him out at. He played for Geelong Grammar.
Oh yeah.
At the weekend, so massive leader, has leadership traits, does everything you want defensively, and he's pretty good on the ball as well.
Yeah, I love that. That being said, if West Coast have pick one, and Harry Van Haddam is the clear best player, I think they go that option.
Well, if you're talking what you're saying about how you think Cooper Duff-Tyler, you don't see him as that number one ruck?
I'm not ruling it out, but yeah, probably not.
So,
yeah, and there's still a need for a ruck. You could probably play them both and have CDT as that second ruck. That being said, the argument against it is having like a 6 to 8 year development.
Well, that's the thing. Like, do you think again you have this sort of unbalanced? Like, you're not going to get enough bang for buck early in that, and you're going to be waiting for everyone to develop while you continue to lose games.
Yeah.
Because this year, I suppose, has reiterated that you're pretty far off the mark. With the better teams. So it's like, yeah, it was kind of the argument last year we talked about with Cooper Duff Tytler. It's like, do you go for a Dyson Sharp, who's more that ready, like the wins for the now, versus the talent of a CDT?
Yeah, that's true. We had 2 top end picks this year. Last year, we don't this year. Spinkscape says probably best to wait for the champs to sort out the order. That's probably. I mean, it's absolutely fair. But just an early favourite. D's have the Hawks on their radar. Maybe that's why they checked out of this game a little early. I'm not saying they definitely did, but maybe.
Say that again, sorry?
The D's have the Hawks next week. MCG, what do you reckon?
Do you reckon they can win that? Well, Hawks aren't in great
I think
form.
they're good enough to win that. But then again, like Hawthorn probably going to respond after last week's fade out.
You would think so.
Yeah.
They need a statement win.
Yeah, they do. MCG though, Melbourne love this ground.
They do love this ground. No, they'll worry them, I think. I think defensively as well, with the way that Melbourne run through the corridor handball and have, I was going to say erratic players, but like unpredictable players. I think that the pace of some of those guys will worry the Hawks.
Yeah, Pickett versus Watson.
There's a narrative. Windsor versus
Connor McDonald.
Yeah.
It's not a bad one, actually.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of the equivalent.
Yeah.
Maybe if Will Day was in the team.
Will Day was the player I thought of, and then I'm like, hang on. I cannot really count him. Should we cover the last game?
No.
No?
Yes, we should.
Okay.
I think that would be fair.
Adelaide versus Richmond. Adelaide defeated Richmond by 37 points, 98 to 62. So this is a really interesting game. Okay, so Richmond were right in this game up until their eyeballs. In the end, they get beaten relatively comfortable. But I saw a lot online after this game from Adelaide fans that was along the lines of, we've got to get Nix out of our club right now.
Yeah, they hate him, mate.
They really don't like him.
Yeah, I reckon like the Power hated Hinkley even when things were going all right.
Yeah.
And you do see it at every club. There'll be a subset of fans who don't like the coach. It does seem pretty palpable at Adelaide.
For the relative recent success.
Yeah. I mean, they're still in the 8. Yes, they are.
They're still in the 8. They finished top of the ladder after coming 15th the season before. Which
you know what fans hate, though? Not smashing the bottom teams.
Yeah, they do.
They really want that gratifying 100-point win, and I think that's probably inflated expectations here. That first half would have alarmed them. I reckon that's probably at play. That being said, the Knicks rhetoric has been going on for some time.
It has been going on for some time. I mean, he's been in the job for a long time. When did he take over?
Did he replace Don Pike?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're looking 2018.
Fuck.
That's a long time. That being said, he does have a minor premiership under his belt. That's not too bad.
Yeah, straight sets final exit though.
Yeah, I know, but it's I'd take it.
Yeah. I hope we got the timeline on that right, but
well, Don Pike. That's a good question. I might not have that right because I was thinking 2017 Adelaide were in the grand final, but Pike wasn't sacked then, so it would have been a couple of years after.
Yeah, okay, but I reckon he's been in there for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, because they won the spoon in 20, and I don't think that was Don Pike.
It's a lot for one final series.
Yeah.
And no finals wins.
Yeah.
I do think they play a pretty boring style, but I also think that
2020, somebody says, thank you.
2020 it sounds a little bit better. I think that they play a lot along down the line, but also in a way I don't blame that as a system for a team that has a lot of really good aerial players. So like play to your strengths, right?
Yeah.
You don't have these like highly skilled midfielders and you want to run the ball through the corridor like a Sydney Swans.
Yeah.
So it's horses for courses. But have they built a team that actually can't compete with these top teams?
Not without moves. They recruit a top line midfielder. Things are looking pretty different, especially with the emergence of Dan Curtin. One thing I did think was a little bit odd was Adelaide were dominating hit-outs in the first half, losing clearances and losing on the scoreboard, and Dawson had been playing half-back.
Yes, he moved to half-back in this game.
And then moved into the middle, and then they win.
They win easily.
I don't know if it's as simple as that, but I don't know why Dawson was in the back line. I don't know. Obviously, he's been going through a lot. Is there a chance they simplified his role? I don't know if he needs that.
Yeah. I always do have the feeling with the Crows, though, that when Dawson's not playing halfback, which I know has been for a while now, they've got Millerer, and I like Millerer, but I don't know if you can absolutely trust him as the main ball mover back there.
Sure, yeah.
And they get into these games where they play a midfield war of attrition, and they can't score from the back half. So having a Dawson there obviously helps that a lot, but it always takes something away from your midfield. It feels like in both of those two positions, in the midfield and the halfback line, they're a player short.
Yeah, you're probably right. But there's still plenty of list management moves they can make. I mean, Zach Bailey's probably not exactly the sort of player they need, but
it still help though.
It still bloody help, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, a top line midfielder.
I think a big thing that the fans were unhappy about from this game in particular, they said Riccielli had 31 disposals, kicked a couple of goals from the midfield 2 weeks ago, and now he's out of there again.
Yeah.
So it's almost like they're flirting with his form.
I wonder if he's being managed or something. That does seem weird. On the other hand, Isaac Rankin had an enormous game. 190 game day squad points. Puts him more than Archie Roberts this week. So that is something.
Incredible
but
player.
Yeah, the management there I think is fair enough to question.
It's interesting. We throw into this Sid Draper, who, if you had have asked me at the start of the season if there was a midfielder that could come in and fix some of their problems, I would have said Sid Draper. He's injured again, and he doesn't seem to be favoured in this team. He played 10 games last year, and I think they were all as sub. So he hasn't actually been able to play that full game of football, and not getting any opportunity this season. Injured in the sandful.
Yeah, that's a blow, especially when they're looking for that dynamic midfielder. You'd love him at least to be developing and not spend so much time on the sidelines. But that's unfortunate. We do have a chat here from Captain Blight. If Richmond win one more game, they'll have the same record as West Coast when they got a compo pick. Do you think Richmond will get it? That can't possibly be true.
Say that again, sorry?
If Richmond win one more game, they will have the same record as West Coast when they got a compo pick. Do you think Richmond will get it? That can't possibly be true because West Coast fell down the ladder 2 years before Richmond. They won 2 games in 22, 3 games in 23, 5 wins in 24, 1 win last year. And Richmond fell down the ladder to win 2 wins in 24, 5 in 25. I don't understand how Richmond is anywhere near where West Coast were.
Don't know.
In any case, won premierships more recently.
Yes.
If West Coast took till last year to get it, that's 7 years after the flag. Richmond are at 6. So I suppose actually that's not too far off, but still closer. And they also won 3. So, I mean, I'm not totally against Richmond getting compo at some point. I don't know if it's this, I don't know if we're
too
there.
soon for you.
Yeah, I think they'll probably avoid the spoon still.
Does it come into any thinking about their current situation, which is that they've got, I think going into this game, they had 1 fit player to pick from outside of their list, essentially, just with all the injuries that they've had. They then, in this game, Tom Brown also gets injured. I think if they cross a threshold here, they can actually bring some VFL players up. And something to think about there is could they look, because they're going to go heavy in the mid-season draft, right? Could they play some of these guys from the VFL? Would it actually be a blessing in disguise if they can have a look at some of them? Bring them into their team, see how they interact, see how they perform, and then they can actually take them in the mid-season draft. Someone like a Sam Toner, who's perennially linked to them with the mid-season draft. Mutaz El Noor is another one, a key position defender. Get them in now, kind of like West Coast did back in the COVID days.
So are you allowing a concession where they can bring them in before the mid-season draft?
Yes, because of their lack of players. There's a process that they can go through.
Is there?
Yeah, if they don't have enough fit players.
Yeah, right. I wasn't aware that was an actual rule.
Yeah, I believe
that being said, there has to be something if they run out of players.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because West Coast did it under a COVID exception.
Yes.
So in 23, they didn't have that.
No, apparently there is. I mean, it's not something that you can just readily pull from, but you make a claim.
Yeah, right. I actually wasn't aware of that, but it kind of makes sense. As for their mid-season draft access, I think only Gibcus has been ruled out for the year. I think they're in an awkward one where there's a lot of TBCs. They're going to have to make some decisions on that.
I think Smiley, they can place him.
Have they done it yet?
I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Either way, yeah, probably.
I think they'll be able to get a couple of guys.
Yeah, you'd hope so. But yeah, I mean, the priority pick thing would probably I mean, that's kind of different. That's
it's a different conversation.
Yeah, but as someone points out, what they could do is get some extra list spots. But again, that's I suppose that is less than what West Coast got. West Coast also got a pick and 3 list spots. Maybe you could give Richmond just list spots.
Mm. What picks did you guys get?
We got like end of first, which was traded for Starcevic. So like pick 19 or 20.
It's not the point. It feels like because Richmond have had a pretty good crack at the draft, I feel like the AFL won't be as like because they got that big 2024 draft. I feel like the AFL won't be as lenient with them to give them a pick because they've already had good access to the draft. Shouldn't really come into the thinking.
No, it shouldn't.
But you feel it would.
Yeah, I heard through the scuttlebutt that West Coast were, when they previously applied for priority pick, were told that they hadn't done enough to move over their list and had to do that first before being eligible. Right. So I don't know how that ties into this. But either way, I think getting back to the question, Richmond have been shit for 2 less years than West Coast.
Yes.
Yeah. And West Coast have been in the position they could ask again this year.
Yeah.
If they finish last.
I just feel like we're in a place with the AFL currently that those teams at the bottom, like if you're a Richmond right now, if you're a West Coast right now, and North Melbourne have gone through this, but I feel like the gap to the top keeps getting bigger. So it's like they keep getting further away. Like you keep improving and then like the rest just get further away.
Yeah.
So I think it's not out. It's conceivable that Richmond will be in this situation for at least the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, rebuilding through the draft like this has never taken longer. It's never been harder.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. And particularly with Tasmania coming in, makes it even worse. Who would you take if you were Richmond in the draft? We did that with West Coast just before.
I think they're in, like, if they have pick 1, I think Harry makes sense for him.
Yeah.
They don't have a ruck quite like him, and I don't think, like, they've addressed their midfield. I suppose the key position defender is another need with Gibcus, but there's no key position defender who's going pick 1, right? No. So it's really...
I think the only other one would be like an Archie Butler type.
Yeah, that's right. And Noel Williams probably behind that, right?
Yeah.
Gus Teixeira, who knows how much he can improve. But, let's say pick 1, Harry. And if they somehow avoid the spoon, I suppose that's quite possible. Archie Butler would probably be the biggest point of difference versus a Noel Williams. I think you'd go Archie, wouldn't you? For Richmond?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I would. Champs will be big, but yeah, that's what I would do at this point. Thomas Payet says, as a Richmond supporter, I think we should only get list spots.
Yeah, fair enough.
Agree?
Yeah, max. Yeah. But it would be a bit weird if they got... I mean, they would be getting a priority assistance before West Coast in terms of the timeline. So something about that doesn't sit right with me. But I suppose it is still less at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Well, that is it, Jesse. That is the games. We have nailed through everything. I think you wanted to do a bit of a game day squad.
Yeah.
Tinkeration.
Yeah.
Not sure why I used the word tinkeration.
No, it's valid.
I've never used that before. We still have 109 people on the show. Thank you so much for tuning in with us and being with us. Jesse, take it away.
Yep. Are we on? I just want to confirm that they can see us.
Should be. I think we're on channel 5. Yeah.
Yeah, we're just adjusting the HDMIs. Bear with us, Mr. Audience. Dylan, what's your favourite song at the moment?
Actually, my favourite song?
Do you need help?
Do you know? I might. But we've actually got... I always get around a bit of Eurovision when it comes around. Eurovision's
Eurovision?
Eurovision.
Ah.
Do you say urine vision? Vika, that's already plugged in. It's not coming up. Isn't it? Okay. Just going to do some producer stuff.
Thomas Payet says, unless we decide to go all out with Bolter, future ruck, as our future ruck, we should give it Van Hatten. I think that's fair. That's fair. Pat Cass says we won 3 flags. That's a good point. You did win 3. It looks like we have our game day squad up and firing, Dylan. So Maximum Mastery is still leading the starter competition. If we just go to round...
Oh, there it is.
It will load shortly. You have a super chat there from Gridio.
Any NGA or father-son watch vids coming soon?
Won't be able to load that, unfortunately.
NGA or father-son watch vids. Not exactly sure what Gritty-O means there. Maybe some draft-related stuff. I mean, we're going to have a mid-season draft video coming out next week.
Yeah, true.
That's not NGA or father-son. I haven't got none in the works for NGA or father-son.
I think I am having issues with my internet at this moment right now. I'm trying to load the starter packs. Here we go. Let's open some packs. I got my forward packs, my 2 packs.
I can actually just watch this on my phone on the stream.
Yeah, you can. Why would you? Tom Gross. Not sure if I rate that one.
Tom Gross.
Who we got
West
now?
Coast don't.
Yep. Yeah, clearly can't get a game. Hopefully he can soon. Jaden Laverde. Who we got next? Just going to keep riffling through. I must have opened a defender there. Taylor Adams. I would love just like a real juicy golden Nick Dacos. Isaac Heaney would be nice.
Be handy, wouldn't it?
Oh, imagine that was Isaac Heaney. Now it's a ruck.
I'm going to have a look at my team.
For those unaware, we have a game day squad competition. Ned Moyle. That's actually a decent one because you keep these players for life. Here's a dynasty league.
We just talked about how he can't get a game, and then we're like, yeah. That's a great one.
He'll get a game somewhere. Shadow Brain, high upside.
The MRI.
Yeah, they call him the MRI.
I stole your joke.
That's all right. Harry Sheasel, that's a good one.
That's a nice one.
I'm very happy with that.
You know what? I haven't had Harry Sheasel in my game day squad at all this season.
That's a really good one. I'm really happy with that. Also a lifelong player here. Campbell Chesser, yes. That's a game changer. Tell you what, if they had a VFL one.
I reckon you'd need an Ocean Mullen.
That would be nice. Sam Darcy. Sean Darcy. Not sure if that one's as valuable as it was maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
I'd rather a Mason Cox.
Yeah, I bet you would. Riley Hardiman, future West Coast Eagles waffle player. That was my attempt at banter. Sean Manor. That's a decent one, actually. Yeah. Sean Manor hits the scoreboard, and you get 10 points for a goal, I think, or 8 in this competition.
Here we go.
Jack Viney. Oh, probably not the right time of his career. Also been injured.
For Dynasty, I wouldn't say that was a great pick.
Right. Yeah, I haven't had a lot of luck tonight. I am happy with Sheasel. Jordan Sweet. Yeah, backup option. But I've got Gordon Grundy, so.
Sweet's he's become like Port Adelaide's number 1 ruckman now, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Caulfield.
He's playing.
Yeah. I do have better options.
Drafted to St Kilda. I think Caulfield, pretty high pick.
Beanie Weenie says, is this website not just gambling? No, it's just fantasy sports.
That's right.
This is all free to play. There are some in-game purchases like anything, but you get packs for playing the game. And I haven't opened a couple for a couple of weeks. But these are all just, by being active, you get weekly packs. Jacob Van Rooyen's a good one. Is there some sniggering going on? I'm scared.
Some sneezing.
Oh, is that what that is? I was like, do I have a tab open that I'm not I'm worried about? Starting to get a little bit of sweat on. Just a few to go here. Was that Will Dawson I just unlocked?
Yeah, you got Finn McGuinness.
Man, I have not had luck tonight. Like, Sheasel's a win.
It's a pretty poor crop, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's a real 2020 draft areas.
I was about to say that. I was about to use that.
Oh, Mitch Edwards is a good one.
Yeah.
I reckon for a long-term play, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last midfield pack.
Let's go build this team. I want to get stuck into it.
Yeah. Tim Taranto. Yeah, decent like short-term option. So if we go to my starter competition, yeah, cool. So Caleb Daniel, thriving. Jordan Clark had a more quiet game. Where was Sheasel a forward? I didn't actually check that. Or is he a midfielder?
Or is he a defender?
I should have actually looked properly.
I thought in a lot of fantasy games, Shees was a defender.
Oh, I'm not taking Holmes out. What am I thinking? Who's my weakest midfielder? I guess it's probably Clary.
Yeah.
And Noel Anderson probably needs to come back into this side. Oh, Jordan Dawson. Oh, I had to take him out because he was missing footy. He comes back into the side.
Does it factor you thinking that Jordan Dawson, if he is playing as a halfback?
Yes. Yes, it does, Dylan. But, no, I mean, they brought him back into the midfield halfway through the game and he dominated. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to
he's
go back in.
arguably their best player.
Yeah. Who else have we got? We have a super chat from Birdman. Thoughts on Sam Cummings' last few games? I'll let you take this, Dylan.
To be honest, I think he's struggled a little bit, but we've got to temper that by the fact that he's basically done his shoulder, has he not?
I'm not sure. Did he get injured again? He did, didn't he?
Well, so essentially, like he's in the same situation as like a Dyson Sharp.
Yeah.
Where they've done damage to the shoulder, but they can either get surgery now and they're out for the season, or they can wait, play this year in pain, and go in the off season, right? So he's kind of in that situation. He looks like he doesn't look fully comfortable, I would say.
Yeah.
I think he's still been pretty impressive. Like his contest work is incredible. He's one of those just dog with a bone kind of midfielders that just goes after everything. So I've liked it, but like I don't think he's playing it to his full potential at the moment, given the pain that he's in.
Absolutely. So I just made a couple of changes to my team. Guys, to join in all the fun, if you look in the description of any video we do, basically, you can find the link to Game Day Squad. If you make your account and you register, you get and use the code TRUE26, you get free player packs, extra player packs. You get some when you start the game anyway. You get more if you use the code TRUE26. And you join this competition. Again, all the code stuff is in the description of every video we do, but that is also the competition code there. So make sure you join the fun as I unplug the HDMI, perhaps, or maybe I'll let the producer. Yep, there we go.
There we go. Widescreen TV says Richmond lost pick 6 equivalent in points last year's draft when you take into consideration Allen Compo, father, son, and 3 academy selections beforehand. I think end of first round seems reasonable. Okay, so that's back on what we were talking about before. Essentially, the fact that Richmond slid down from initially pick 2 to their first pick being pick 7, actually. It was.
Yeah, true.
They came into the draft at pick 7, so they lose a lot of points from that, essentially. So I suppose, does that factor into any of the considerations for you?
It's worth noting. Obviously, that's not going to really apply this year. They're going to get a pick anyway, as are any other club that have a pick pushed down because of a bid.
Yeah, I think definitely Richmond were the club that they clearly that came in for.
Yeah,
because it was straight away after that where they got pushed down very heavily.
Yeah.
Then,
that's true. I mean, it's also hurt us in the second rounds, maybe not the first, but the second round, like starting the second round with pick 30 odd for the team as bad as West Coast. Also
exactly.
Worth
you expect to be getting around the 20th best player.
Yeah.
And you're getting the 30th.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. All right. Have we got all the super chats there? I think we were just ticking over 2 hours. Should we wrap it up, Dylan?
We should wrap it up, Jesse. Guys, thank you very much for being with us. We will be back next Monday. I don't think we don't have a
not this weekend.
A game this week. We've got some live streams and watch-alongs coming up, so get around those, and we'll have some videos out during the week. Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you in the next one.
Go!